is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, we're going to have a three-way, I like three-way juice-offs. Alright? And in this episode, we'll be actually comparing three different juicers to see how they yield on carrots and celery. It was recently brought to my attention that there's a popular influencer out there that made a video with the NEMA and actually a twin gear. She called it horizontal. There are two different kinds of main horizontal machines, auger styles and twin gears. Just because you use a twin gear doesn't mean you're going to get the same exact results in an auger. An auger horizontal will make results similar to the vertical with some minor differences. You have to check my other videos for that. Although the influencer used a different model twin gear, an older model actually. And then they used a Breville juicer, which is the Juice Fountain Elite 800JE XL, which I actually have. But I decided to use the newer model because it'll make more of an impact for you guys on telling the truth about juicers and how they work, right? I'm a retailer of actually the TriBest brand juicers, the NEMA brand juicers. I used to formerly sell the Breville brand, but I no longer sell them at this time. I would choose to sell them, but they choose not to allow me to sell their machines for whatever reason. Now the thing is that my videos tell the truth. You know, if there's an influencer that's part of the team or an affiliate or whatever, you know, and they're showing other machines, especially with the names taped out. I don't hide any names here. I have no reason to hide names. In my opinion, you're going to hide names if you're concerned about getting a lawsuit because you may be disparaging a company, you know, and not telling the truth, basically. That's kind of like a slander kind of thing, but I ain't a lawyer either. But I'm not, you know, I show all the brand names. I don't really care about that. But I know what I know is that I tell the truth. I try to make the most accurate comparison videos online to show you guys what exactly happens when you juice equal amounts of produce in different machines. And over and above just me juicing the exact items, I showed you guys in many instances the techniques to juice them, you know, why juicing is beneficial, and more importantly, some of the different pros and cons about each of the machine. It is true that every juicer has its own set of pros and cons. You know, I strive to be as impartial as possible, although I am human, and I am subject to predisposition and biases and things, and that's only because I've been juicing for the last 25 years straight. Pretty much, I've been selling juicers since 1998, and I've created over 500 to 600 videos on YouTube comparing and contrasting different juicers to one another. I might make a video in the future on how you could basically make a video to show something that ain't true or kind of like push the truth. You want to call that fake news or whatever you want to call it. And I believe some influencers, you know, have done that in promotion of the NEMA because they basically, when you buy the NEMA with their link or their code, they get a paycheck. And yes, when you buy one of these machines that I sell through me, I definitely get paid, but my goal is to not sell you this one because I only sell this one. I strive to sell all the major brands because I don't care what juice you get. My goal is to not make the piece of the pie for NEMA, make the piece of the pie for TriBest, or make the piece of the pie for Breville bigger. I want the whole juice pie larger. I want every single household in America to start juicing because they can get benefits from it. Much like you might have a Tesla parked in your driveway, your neighbor might have a VW or a Fiat 500e, you know, or even a motorcycle. We're all going to have different cars because they might meet your different needs. Maybe your neighbor next door, he's a construction worker. You know, he wouldn't be caught in a Yugo to save his life, but he would drive a truck, you know, and he has a big, you know, F-250 or whatever, because that's what he needs to get the job done. Likewise, everybody's going to have a different need for the juicer, and to say everybody fits in this one box, in the NEMA box, or in the TriBest box, or in the Breville box, I think it's just totally inaccurate, and it is basically just, you know, not giving people, you know, what they need. And what they need is to know the truth about how the machines work, each machine's pros and cons, and, you know, so that each person could determine their specific needs. You know, especially some juicers will juice certain produce items better than others, and I believe this is not often talked about. And so I strive to have as many videos to give you guys the most complete picture. And the other thing I will say is that I don't want you guys just to watch one of my videos and then buy that juicer or buy this juicer because I said it was good. What I want you to do, and you could do this because I have over 10 videos on this machine. I have I'm collecting videos now on the NAMA. I have a bunch of videos with the Breville, and you should watch different videos and see, because every time I do a juice off, I compare two different juicers. So you're going to learn about this one and this one, and then you're also going to see commonalities and things that repeatedly occur. So like if I use a Breville versus a vertical auger juicer, like I think I did a Breville versus the VSJ, I think I did a Breville versus the a different kind of vertical Kuvings, you're going to see trends. I actually think my last video with the Breville and the NAMA, showed a trend that I believe to be true based on my past experience. When I juice carrots in a Breville and a NAMA, generally, the Breville wins, because here's the thing. Each different style of juicer could be better or worse for juicing different produce items, So when I see a video where the NAMA made a lot more carrot juice than the Breville, I'm like putting up some red flags in my head, because like while that can happen, I'm not going to say it won't happen, but I'm going to say it's highly unlikely that a properly operating juicer that's a high speed is going to beat an auger juicer on carrots. Because the other thing I know from juicing for the last 25 years and making more videos online than anybody about juicers, and showing what actually happens, is that auger juicers are one of the worst style juicers in terms of yield. If yield is your primary focus, right? Now, in terms of nutrition, I will definitely say, based on my research and the research I've seen, published studies, the slow style machine will make a higher nutritional content of different phytonutrients, antioxidants specifically, over this style machine. And the other thing I will say is that there's a lot of things that are just not true going on about juicers and in life in the greater picture. I can't dispel myths about fake news about this or that, because I don't really know about those things. But what I do know is I do know about juicers, and I want to give you guys the truth about these juicers, how they compare pros and cons against each other, and also give you guys a legitimate and honest yield test of the machines on properly operating machines. And I might go into that maybe in a little bit later in this video, on how you can maybe make a video seem that one juicer did make less when it actually didn't. I mean, if the produce is not weighed and verified by the viewer, you could have a pile that's this big, it looks about the same as this big, and then off camera you could just put in a couple extra carrots because you're clipping out, juicing a couple, and then you go to the end where you just see the yield. They could have just added in extra carrots they had off to the side to inflate the yield, right? If you don't even know the weights in the first place, how do you know the person making the video is completely accurate, unless you completely trust them with your life? I trust myself with my life. I do it every single day when I walk outside and go to cross the street, or when I'm actually putting food in my body. But I wouldn't trust somebody else for this information, and that's why I strive to make my videos as transparent as possible. And I do have long videos, and yeah, maybe a lot of you guys will turn this video off because you don't have the patience, and you could stomach a half-hour video, but you can't stomach a 2-hour long or hour-and-a-half long. I don't know how long this is going to be, because I don't really plan these. All these videos are impromptu. They come out, whatever I'm thinking is what I come out. I'm fairly pragmatic, and I basically cover these topics. So that you guys that have short attention spans will probably just go watch a half-hour video with the yield results, and the influencer telling you, oh, the NAMA's the best, buy it. And you're going to do that, and then you're going to get what you reap, because you did not do your due diligence. You did not do your research. When I have these videos out here that are, more detailed and more informative, to kind of give you guys a greater picture than just trying to sell you a NAMA, or just trying to sell you a Green Star, or just trying to sell you a Breville, despite me not even selling the Breville. I will always say that, some machines may be better in certain circumstances for you, but I want you guys to determine your certain circumstances. And also, the thing I will say is that some juicers will better juice certain produce items than others. So if you said, John, I want to juice mostly leafy greens without much else because I don't like the sugar in the root vegetables, I don't want the sugar in the fruits, then actually I wouldn't even recommend any of these juicers for it. You should get a single auger horizontal juicer that juices the if you're doing a high green juices with very little, if anything else, even a vertical juicer can and will get jammed up, even if the company claims that you could not have to pre-cut your produce, right? I'm going to show juicing uncut celery. This is in this video in the NAMA, like was done on another video by the other influencer, and I will not mention any names to keep people innocent. But what I will say is that you know, I have had issues where this machine clogs up on me because I'm not pre-cutting things like I normally recommend. If you are considering any vertical juicer, including the NEMA, please watch my video, post the link down below. Juice like a pro in any vertical slow juicer. If you do not do those techniques in any vertical, and I don't care if the manufacturer says you don't need to cut stuff because we designed it so, it's still going to jam up. As a matter of fact, you know, you can see a little chip and dent here in my bowl, and my machines are well used. I mean, that's another thing. I actually use these machines on a daily basis. They will have some stains. It's not like I'm getting this out of the closet just to make a video to promote it. I juice every day. Like 2 days ago, I juiced like 2 gallons of you know, watermelon juice. I also did my ginger, turmeric, lemon, rosemary shots along with the pineapple, you know, rosemary, lemon, ginger, turmeric shots or drink juice as well. Yesterday, actually in the NEMA, actually the video will go up pretty soon, I juiced actually Malabar spinach berries that are deep purple, beta cyanins, you know, and I get crazy about juicers, and that's alright. You guys don't want to be as crazy as I do, or I am, but you can learn from what I'm sharing with you guys in my videos because I believe I have lots of knowledge regarding this, because juicing, eating healthfully, and gardening have been the main focuses and primary aspects of my life, at least now for the last 15 to 25 years. I got freshly more into gardening, maybe 10 years, I don't know. But it's been a long time I've been doing this, and I've learned a lot, and my goal is to share with you guys, give you guys the knowledge you need to empower the customer instead of disempower you and tell the truth. And you know, it is confusing. You're going to watch this video, you're going to watch another video, and you're going to be like, I don't know what juicer to get. John says so many different things. Well, then you got to email me personally if you live in my service area, which is the United States. Tell me exactly what you want to juice, and please give me the specifics, the exact items, and the amounts and or percentages that you will juice, so that I can determine the best juicer for you. But also I need to know what features you want in a juicer. It is true, some juicers are easier to clean than others. Between these 3 juicers, me personally, I would say the Breville is actually the easiest to clean. That's the honest truth. If you have a scrub brush. Now if you're using a sponge, then you're going to be screwed in all cases because you should be using a nylon bristle brush. All these machines come with cleaning brushes so that you can make cleaning easier. There's much less parts and nooks and crannies to clean in this machine than say this machine, although you have a lot more surface area in the Breville. So actually in terms of cleaning, I would say actually this machine is probably the easiest, and then between these two, I haven't exactly timed it, but I would probably still say the NEMA is a little bit easier than the Green Star Pro, and that could be another reason why you get one juicer or the other, because it's just easier to clean. That being said, I would even choose a different juicer that's easier to clean. I actually have a video called The Easiest Juicer in the World to Clean. It takes me 80 seconds, and I proved it by showing you a stopwatch on the video as I'm cleaning it, cleaned it up. Some people give these cleaning times that, in my personal opinion, are a little bit overinflated. I give the most optimal cleaning time if you're quick and efficient. I talk fast, but also I clean fast, but also realize that I've cleaned juicers thousands of times in my life, so I know how to basically cut the corners, cut the time, save the time, you know, and clean juicers quick. So my maybe estimates on cleaning time is probably the best, you know, best time. I don't think you're going to exceed my cleaning times. Your times may be longer, but if it takes me longer to clean, it's certainly going to take you longer to clean. Another thing that I didn't think was fair in the video was the warranty length. The warranty length over on the Breville is 1 year, and over on these NEMA parts, it's stated that the warranty is 2 years. So it should not be said that the warranty is 10 years. But John, it says it on the NEMA website, it says 10 years. Yeah, but if you look, there's a little asterisk. And under the asterisk says, yeah, there's 10 years on the motor base. Should the motor base ever fail? And guess what? The motor base is the least likely part on the juicer to fail. I will tell you, the most likely juicer part to fail, well, in my case, well, I had this top. Actually, this is a replacement top, and actually the second one's already starting to fail. It actually leaks some juice right out of the seams, but the most likely part to fail on a vertical juicer is the juicing screen. This part is only covered for 2 years under the written warranty. If you need to buy a new one after 2 years, you need to purchase another one. I think they're in the range of $70 to $80 for a juicing screen. So just by buying a juicer, such as the VSJ843, which is similar to the NEMA, it has a 15-year warranty that covers these parts, whereas the NEMA does not. So on some ways, in my personal opinion, you're shooting yourself in the foot by buying a juicer with a short warranty. You know, a juicer is probably the most important appliance that you could buy to have in your kitchen to change your health for the better. Why? Because it concentrates the valuable phytonutrients, enzymes, and vitamins and minerals, especially those trace minerals, from the produce that are not even being grown in good fashion these days to have a good spectrum of these phytochemicals and phytonutrients and doesn't have as high levels as they should. You could concentrate that and get those into, you know, liquid form that is then absorbed in a much faster form, so you get, you know, really quickly you can change your blood status of your antioxidant content, as I've seen in some published studies, right? And so that's why I want you guys really to take your juicer purchase seriously. Don't just go ahead and buy the cheap one for $100 on a, you know, big box store from China. And I have videos on why you probably shouldn't get a juicer from China. I'm not gonna, you know, I'll put a link down below to that video. You guys could watch it if you so desire. And if not, I've done my due diligence because I put out the content. It's up to you guys to watch it if you think it's important. If you guys don't think it's important, man, just flip a coin to what juicer you're gonna buy, man, and then, you know, but here's the thing, if you don't get the right juicer the first time, then guess what? You're gonna be unsatisfied, you're not gonna juice, and then you're gonna have to return it, you're gonna have to pay shipping, or you're gonna have to return ship it, it's gonna put out extra carbon in the atmosphere. There's gonna be repercussions to not making the proper choice the first time that could be avoided simply by watching my videos and consulting with me to make sure you get the right one the first time, right? Because my goal is to get you guys, educate you guys, so that you guys purchase the right juicer from me the first time. I will be here to help you answer all your juicing questions. If you are having challenges after purchasing, you purchase from discount juicers, I will answer your questions so that you guys can juice properly the items you're trying to juice, because I can tell you, oh, you just need to modify this a little bit, you need to change this. Because once again, you know, if you try to get in a car and you put it in reverse, you press the gas and you hit the guy behind you, well, you put the car in reverse. You're not using it properly. And juicers, the instruction books, in my personal opinion, don't always exactly explain the proper or best techniques to get the maximum use or have it work the best. They just kind of tell you the bare minimum, in my personal opinion. But once again, I've juiced basically pretty much every day of my life, making some kind of juice. And right now, I wish you guys were here, because I got about a gallon and a half of watermelon juice in my fridge, and I make so much extra juice I can't, well, I do end up drinking it all, but sometimes it takes me some time. And this is basically where my experience can help you guys. Furthermore, if you guys buy from me, buy from discount juicers, you guys are going to get something you can't get anywhere else, right? You guys are going to get extended warranty service. What is extended warranty service? Well, that means if you try to, because all the warranties are covered through the manufacturer, not through the retailer you purchase from. If you contact, you know, Namo, you contact Greenstar, you know, that I sold you, and the Tribest company or the Namo company is not giving you service for your purchase, let me know, right? I have connections. I know the president of Namo, I know the president of Tribest. I make one phone call, or you usually send an email, and, you know, I could say, hey, my customer bought this. This is a legitimate warranty claim. You need to help them out. And guess what? Heads roll. Well, things happen, and you guys will get warranty service. I know during COVID, some of my customers were quite grateful that I have a, you know, liaison, that I have a you know, good connection with Omega juicers to make sure that my customers' warranty requests were taken care of, because some of the biggest reviews online about Omega as a company is that people are not able to get a hold of the customer service and not get warranty for the machine. So if you guys want me in your pocket, you know, buy from discount juicers so that I can continue my work to make these videos and also help support you guys in your juicing journey. Because here's the thing, I want to sell you guys a juicer, I want to educate you guys about juicers, I want to give you guys the best information I can, and I want you guys to juice every day. I don't want you guys to get a machine you're frustrated with, you turn it back, you return it, you get your cash back. Hey, great, cash is great to have, but more importantly is a juicer, because it will change your life. You will regain your health, you will lose the weight, you will get healthier, you'll have more energy, you'll feel alive like a teenager again if you start juicing. I hear testimonials day in and day out. People just do not understand this and how important it is to get the right juicer the first time, because if you use it more, you're going to get more benefits. And if you get one and you hate it because this influencer said it was good and then it doesn't work, then you're not going to get the benefits. And then I'm not doing my job. Well, maybe I'm not doing my job, or, you know, you're not taking responsibility to learn about the different juicers to the best of your ability and learn how to use it properly so that you could get the benefits. And my goal is to get everybody in America to juice, and maybe even around the world, but my service area is only America, so I apologize if you guys are outside the USA. I do not answer any questions directly through our website, although I do have a way you guys could ask me questions if you guys are outside of my service area, which is the United States and its territories. Alright, so getting back to warranty, forgot to let you guys know that the TriBest Green Star Pro has a 15-year warranty, not only on the motor base, but also on all the juicing parts. In addition, actually, this model has to be their commercial model, which is NSF certified, which means if you have a juice bar or you need to use this in a health department, facility that the health department has to approve, this will meet the regulations. Now, of course, for commercial use, it only has a 3-year warranty, but for home use, it has a full 15-year warranty. Should anything fail on it, TriBest will take care of you. And actually, I had a switch go bad in here, and I basically called TriBest posing as a customer, because I am a customer, my biggest customer. While I do sell juicers, I also use them, and when they break, I need to get help. So I called them and just said, my machine's not working. I tried to replace the fuse because this is a user replaceable fuse, which is really nice, and still not working. I called them back. I called them up, left a message during COVID times, and actually within a day they called me back. And when they called me back, then I actually sent them an email because the gig was up and they knew who I was. And then I'm like, talked to my rep, and he basically, got me taken care of. And literally the following week, I had the machine replaced, or actually, was fixed, and I was up and running again. So it's really important that you guys have minimal downtime. And there are some juicers out there that, in my opinion, the company is beta testing on the user, which is not accurate. And I have a video I'll post link down below. I won't mention any brand names or model numbers here, but I have a video. I do not recommend buying this juicer at this time. Hopefully they resolve the issue, because I think the juicer can be good, but if you guys don't want hassles, don't get that machine. But yeah, so warranty is super important, super critical, so that you guys can stay on your healthy lifestyle. So another thing I want to talk about is the influencer made a video talking about the parts included. Now the Breville does include a juice catch cup as well as a pulp catch cup. And the Breville also includes a juice couch cup and a pulp couch cup, as well as a sorbet screen and a smoothie screen, which they call a smoothie screen. I would call it a coarse screen, because technically it's not really designed to hold all the pulp in there. It still will let the pulp come out of the machine, so you're really making a coarse juice. Meanwhile, the Green Star that was used in the video, they say, oh yeah, look, this is the machine you just got to get, and you got to get your own things to catch the juice. Well, number one, the person was using juicers that were, quote, borrowed from the neighbors, right? So all the videos that I use in my videos, I own outright. Now, some of them were given to me by the manufacturer, like the Green Star Pro and the NEMA in this episode, but sometimes I buy juicers. So actually, I bought this Breville because I'm not a Breville dealer, and I want to be able to show you guys and compare it to you, for you guys. And actually, honestly, I never use this machine other than videos, and I kind of dread when I do use this machine, because I know what it does to the phytochemicals and some of the antioxidant vitamins in the juice, okay? But yeah, the Green Star Pro actually does come with this nice glass, and other juicers come with plastic collection cups. So I like that they come with a glass collection cup for the juice. Now that you do need to provide your own container to catch the pulp, whether it's a bowl or something else. So that, I don't know, most people have bowls. I even use plastic bags when I was traveling, and I use a rubber band to tape it to the outlet ports. All the pulp would go in a bag if you want to do that. Whatever you want to do. But then the other thing is that this machine also comes with 2 pushers, and I'm not going to pull out everything it comes with. I'll have a video down below showing that. But it also comes with a mochi attachment. It also comes with an open blank, a closed blank, to make more different, and extract more different things and process more different foods than any of these other 2 juices. So this juice of the Breville, pretty much only for juicing. The NEMA can make juices, nut milks, sorbet, and maybe smoothies, in quotes, I would say, or coarse juices. Whereas this machine comes with a fine screen, a coarse screen, so you got the coarse screen covered. I don't say this machine makes smoothies. That's a job for a vacuum blender anyways. You can make mochi in here. You could basically grind up, make sorbets. You could grind up nuts into nut butter. You could also mince herbs, something these other machines cannot do. So feature-wise, this machine will allow you to do more features than either of these 2 machines, and that was not really talked about either. Another thing I wanted to touch on really fast before getting into this episode is I want to talk about wearable parts, right? The NEMA and the Green Star Pro as slow juicers don't have any quote-unquote wearable parts. What are wearable parts? Well, wearable parts are like the brake pads on your car. For those of you guys that know, you guys have to get a brake job and get your brake pads, basically changed out after a while, because after a while the brake pads wear down and then they'll no longer stop your car and or be really squeaky. And I think when I was in college that would happen to me because I didn't have a lot of money and my brake pads got squeaky and I let it get metal to metal, which is not good because that costs even more money. But on these machines, generally there's no wearing parts, right? And so you could use these machines forever. You don't have to buy a new blade or disc. And actually, here's the thing, on the Breville, it is a wearable part, right? The machine's only a 1-year warranty, and after 1 year of solidly using it every day, you definitely should be replacing the blade, and maybe even replacing the blade after 6 months. But at DOE, or DOU, depending on use. If you use the machine a lot with hard items such as carrots, they tend to dull your blade very fast. Unfortunately, most people never buy or never know that they need to replace the blade, and then they're using a dull blade. When you use a dull blade in the machine, then guess what happens? Then your yield will go down dramatically because the machine is not as efficient at basically grinding things up into fine pulps or shreds and extracting the juice out of it. In addition, these machines are easier to use. Why? Because you have an on and off button. On, off. You also have a reverse that you could do temporarily to get something unjammed, right? But in general, the machine will not run in reverse, so you can only turn it on to run it in forward mode. You turn it on, you put the stuff in proper order and properly pre-cut. That's a different video. Same thing with this machine. You have an on button, turn it on, and it goes forward. If it gets jammed up, you can hit the reverse button, which rarely happens to me. But on the Breville, there's 2 speeds on most common new Breville juicers. Maybe the original one had like a 1 speed, but the most common Breville juicers have 2 speeds. And if you run the Breville on the low speed when you're supposed to be running on the high speed, then your yield will not be as much, right? I guess the one thing you do need to do on the Green Star is they have this outlet adjusting knob. And this outlet adjusting knob, you can see it has a spring on there. And there's 2 of these outlet adjusting knobs. There's one called the standard outlet adjusting knob, and then there's one called the fruit knob, which actually has a softer spring tension. You may not be able to determine this by looking at it from the outside because the tip or the color of the plastic on this little part will be different. But if you're using the fruit knob when you're juicing vegetables, it will drastically reduce your yield. Why? Because the spring tension is so light, it'll let the pulp that's wet out of the machine before it's fully wrung out. That's how this machine works. Likewise, if I take this outlet adjusting knob and I only put it in 2 turns, then guess what? It's going to allow pulp that's totally wet to come out the machine. So it's very imperative when you're juicing to crank this down all the way. Going to make sure it's cranked down in there super tight so that the maximum back pressure is put on the pulp as it's being ground up so that it squeezes it out the most efficient way so that you get the highest yield. In my previous tests, when I've tested the auger style juicers against the twin gear, generally, and it's very rare that the auger juicer will beat a twin gear in juicing carrots. Now it can happen, but it's quite odd when it does. And if it does beat it by some chance, it's not going to be by like half as much juice, right? It's going to be pretty close. I mean, it's going to be within, 10 to 30% like max. Either way, one way or the other. I mean, generally, I see this machine rule out over this style when juicing something like carrots, for example. Now, another thing that was said in the video is that, this machine heats the juice. Oh my God, if I hear another heat the juice claim, I'm going to shoot myself. Maybe not exactly shoot myself. But really, the heat the juice thing really bothers me a lot. In my personal opinion, what happened was one company, to sell more juicers, put high-speed juicers heat the juice. And it was probably a slow juicer company. I don't know who it was. But they put out high-speed juicers heat the juice. And I don't know where they got this from or if they just made it up. And then so now think, oh, heat's bad. Heat should not be in juice. And heat's going to lower nutrients, right? And well, heat and friction can lower nutrition, right? I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. That being said, when I've taken my temperature gun, right, I've got infrared temperature gun, tested the juice coming out of the machine, out of a high-speed machine, it doesn't heat the juice. And so much so that Breville want to overcome this heat the juice marketing thing. So guess what? This is actually called the Breville cold juicer. Wait, the Breville cold juicer heats the juice? No! They're just advertising what it is. It's a cold juicer. Now, it doesn't mean it's a good because it's a cold juicer. The issue with these juicers is that it aerates the juice. So if Breville have a Breville non-aeration juicer, I'd be impressed. Well, they do have some slow juicers. But this machine, the issue is not the heat, it is the aeration, and I will prove that in this video. So if you hear people saying the heat, these juicers make heat in the juice, you know, I would say, do you want to trust anything else they say? That's me personally. I mean, I really am kind of raised the big eyebrow if I hear somebody say, oh, these juicers heat the juice. Well, did you test it? I have a video, link down below once again. We're already done the video, heat the juice test, where I've juiced different items, the produce going in, the produce coming out, and the thermometer test. I'll be doing this in this video, and that's why my videos are long, because I cover all the different topics to ensure you guys have the honest truth. And I don't care who wins in this video. Maybe the Nama's gonna win. I don't really care, but I want the honest comparison that shows, you know, a lot of juicers will always be within pretty close ranges of each other, unless, you know, maybe the video is being rigged, or, you know, there's something nefarious going on, in my personal opinion. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get into how each of these machines work, because I also explain how they work, which is very important to understand, because here's the thing, the more effectively the juicer can break open the cell walls and extract the nutrients out of the cell walls where they're trapped, is the more nutrition you're gonna get, while at the same time minimizing the excess friction, potential heat, also the oxidation generally put in due to high speed or high speed action, right? So literally, if we start with the Breville over here, how this machine works is you have a large feed chute, which is a pro, but it's also a con, because if you could put things in fast. So if you want a fastest juicer, I mean, if you're saying any one of these juicers is faster than the Breville, you're definitely lying, because this machine is absolutely the fastest. I'll be timing that too. But there's a pro with fast that you're going to save time, but the con is you're going to lose nutrients, in my personal opinion. In addition, while this big feed chute is good for something like apples and carrots, it's really bad for something like if you're trying to juice a single leaf of kale. You put a leaf of kale in here, you know, you don't have a lot of blade contact time, and actually that's why I like centrifugal juicers when I did like them with a smaller feed chute, because you have more blade contact time for the juicer to operate to extract the nutrients out. So how this machine works is you got basically a little shredding disc that basically microfine shreds things up as it's microfine shredded. You know, it's not really grinding, it's just shredding as it cuts it. You know, that some juice is released. This is then spun out through centrifugal force, and the juice comes out these little small holes, which is Italian made, and then it's basically blown out. And you'll see this because this ring is clear. You'll see all the air literally pushing the juice out. And the funny thing about this is the bottom of the bowl is, you know, down here, but yet the spout is near the top. So how does the juice that's down here gets pushed out of the top of the spout here? Is because it's all blown out by air. So literally the air is blowing out the juice, not even gravity with this juicer, you know. And I'm like, well, that is kind of cool to see that work, you know. In my personal opinion, as somebody who juices for their health and maximum phytonutrient content, it makes me cringe personally, you know. In addition, this runs at high speed, so it's a lot louder than the other machines. So also I'll be doing a sound test, so I want to let you guys know that there are objective and subjective tests when running a juicer, right? Objective, right? Doing a sound test. Objective, doing a thermometer. Objective, I'll be using my iPhone stopwatch. You know, these are objective things. What are subjective? Subjective is cleaning time, unless it's proven to you on the screen with a stopwatch and a timer. You know, so you could say this is easy to clean, and manufacturers, I mean, Tribus will say this is easy to clean. And, you know, I guess you could define this easy to clean, because I'd probably rather clean this than a burnt-on stuck pan that has like burnt-on charcoal that's black on it. Absolutely. But, you know, the Breville is easier to clean in my personal opinion, but also the time that it takes, if you know, accurately portrayed, is more objective. Whereas when you taste a juice when it's done, that's kind of subjective. You know, looking at the juice and determining its color could be kind of part subjective, part objective, because it takes a skill to determine why is the color of the juice darker or lighter, or why is it separating. You know, the yield, the exact yield is objective, and unless you have some kind of tool to measure the nutrition quality, in my opinion, that's also going to be subjective, not objective. One of these days I hope to have some kind of machine to determine the juice quality, but no such machine exists that's affordable at this point in time. So you're going to have to kind of, trust the person speaking with you guys. And, I'll tell you guys, I got into juicing and changing my diet for health reasons. I almost lost my life when I was younger. So I really take this seriously. I'm not trying to do these videos to be cool, because if I did, this video probably would have been done by now. And I would have just said, buy this juicer, it's the best. I'm trying to do this to give you guys some knowledge, to impart knowledge on you. I've learned a lot of things in the 25 years I've been eating a healthy diet and being able to, more importantly, maximize my phytonutrients, which in my opinion make a difference. That's why I spent, over half my day yesterday juicing actually Malabar spinach, purple berries in the NEMA. First basically was collecting them. It took me like 45 minutes to harvest them, wash them, juice them, make the video, edit the video to share with you guys that are going to come up really soon. So be sure you click that subscribe button right down below. Anyways, so yeah, objective and subjective. I want you guys to be aware of these terms and aware of things that are objective and subjective. Now this machine is easy to assemble and put together. And you got to use a pusher on this. The other thing is that this machine can be dangerous, for kids, because I could stick my hand in there. They should have a warning. There's a warning here, but don't stick anything into the juicer other than the produce or the pusher that you're given. And if you have children, always supervise them when juicing. Not only due to the safety reason, also for the noise factor. I would never purchase a high-speed juicer for a family with kids. I would only get a slow juicer, especially one that has a small feed chute so that no fingers could get in there and get damaged. Actually, just the other day, I don't know if you guys could see that, but I was using a food processor. I stuck my finger in there, and I should know better, and it took off a little piece of my finger. Don't worry. I washed the juicer well and washed my finger well after that. Anyways, and then so this is the Green Star Pro. And instead of just simply grating and shredding, which, is not a good technique to maximize nutrients, you really want to rupture the cell walls. And how that works in this is with two 100% stainless steel gears. This does have a 100% stainless steel screen aside from the bottom, which is plastic. But this has 100% stainless steel gears in here that basically run kind of between each other. And what you put in here literally is crushed between these two gears. And like in this first set right here, it is basically ground up, literally into a pulp. This is probably one of the this is the most effective slow juicer that we sell in terms of grinding at discount juicers, the twin gear style. There are some pocket recessed teeth that make sure that the celery fibers that, in my opinion, will be clogging up the NEMA in just a little bit, will get cut up into shreds, into nothing, so this machine will never jam with any celery like other vertical juicers, and even to a much lesser degree, auger juices, because literally the fibers are totally cut up. So after this first stage, then you have a mixing stage. So now the produce is then kind of mixed together. This may help enzymatic reactions. It is said if you juice carrots with apples and you kind of do a mixing stage, creates more enzymatic activity. Jury's out on that one. But then what happens is during this stage also this is the mixing / pressing stage. So as this is mixing and pressing and the juice is being squeezed out, this auger is running and the juice then comes out this screen and then drips into the collection cup below at low speed. This machine runs at under 150 RPMs, a lot slower than the 10,000 plus, maybe 14,000 on high speed on the Breville. So a lot less oxidative damage. In addition, the food is only touching 100% stainless steel gears, which is really nice. In addition, I don't have my sample today, but basically inside these gears is also a far infrared and magnetic that does not touch your juice. But, over in Asia, such as Japan and Korea, far infrared is known to heal people. They have these far infrared healing mats that people sleep on and all these things. Plus, our Earth is magnetic. We are losing magnetism, and it is said the far infrared and magnets help pull out additional minerals out of the juice and maybe even structure the juice as it comes out, right? And so I would tend to believe that. On the flip side, I know there's a lot of skeptics out there. Oh, it's bad. I don't want anything with magnets. Well, that's up to you. But my opinion is that this is either helpful or not harmful, in my personal opinion. I've also seen many people use a Green Star Pro to heal their cancer, for example. And if the magnet stuff was bad, maybe they wouldn't have gotten the results from the healing, right? And third-party testimonial that I've heard. Well, actually, I met the person that healed themselves from the cancer using a twin gear. Well, one that I'm thinking of, but I've also heard many testimonials over the years. And here's the thing. Trivest has also done third-party independent testing where they basically test the nutrients or the minerals specifically out of this machine, and even compared to like a two-stage hydraulic grinder and press such as a Norwalk, this machine produced, overall, not in every case, but overall higher mineral content juice, right? And that's because, number one, the grinding is more superior, so the better the grind, the more nutrients you're going to make available to come into the juice, and also with the magnets, maybe helping pull out additional nutrients and breaking down some of the things in the juice as well so that it could come out. So clearly, if you're looking for the maximum phytonutrients, you're not so concerned about cleaning time, this is the machine. If you want to get a machine based on these three machines, if you want a machine with the longest warranty, of course, this is the machine you guys are going to get. This is definitely not going to be the fastest, and we will time this for you guys. Also important, you got to line this machine up properly. There's a dot and two dots. You need to make a little pyramid. And the other con about this machine, which I'll say straight up, is if you're juicing something like carrots, it does take some downward force to push carrots. Now, in the video that came out, to me it looked like, there was an over-exertion of force used, and maybe the person making the video is not that strong. In some cases I could push the produce in the juicer literally with one finger or two fingers, And I don't go to the gym to work out. I think gyms are, a waste of time personally. I get real world exercise. Literally this morning, washing all the produce before I'm making this video, I went through like 15 gallons of water to wash all the produce, and all that water is then carried out and bucketed out into different areas of my garden to feed my plants so that I could live as sustainably as possible. All right, and that's also how I build my muscles. All right, so once you got these lined up, then you're going to go ahead and put the gears in. You're going to then put on the juicing screen, and then you're going to go ahead and put on this clip. Now I will put a complete video to the Green Star Pro down below so you can get the whole rundown on it. This is just an abbreviated version. Once again, this machine also comes with a glass collection bowl as well as more accessories than any other machine on the table to do more tasks in your kitchen. This is the very machine that I choose to use when I'm making my ginger, turmeric, rosemary, lemon, and sometimes I juice ginseng shots. Link down below to the video where I show using this. Why do I use this machine when I'm juicing those items? Number one, this pulls out more nutrients. Ginger and curcumin out of the curcuma longa or the turmeric are one of the most beneficial phytonutrients out there in my personal opinion. This machine pulls out more, allows me to get more of those nutrients as well as minerals when I'm juicing those, and those produce items like the turmeric could run between $10 to $15 a pound for me when I buy those organic gingers, cheaper, maybe around $3 to $4 a pound. And then when I buy ginseng root, that stuff's $50 a pound. I will not dare use a high-speed juicer that's going to basically make so little juice, oxidize the heck out of it, when I'm using $50 a pound produce. Likewise, my berries, for my berries, I use the Nano because it's a more efficient grinder than other style vertical auger juicers. I mean, there's pros and cons of this machine also that we'll cover in a minute, but I mainly use this machine on hard veggies and leafy greens. Likewise, I talked about pushing keratin could be difficult, but taking a green is going to be easier than any of these juicers out here. Well, this juicer is easy for greens. You could put it in, it'll literally suck it in, kick it out, probably mostly whole and not get a lot of juice in. You could put some greens in the Nama. If you put too many greens in there, in my personal opinion, based on my experience, it will jam, it will clog, it will be hard to take apart, and the fibers will get stuck. On this machine, you put a single dandelion leaf in there, it's going to suck that dandelion leaf in without you having to push. So to say that this machine always takes the most work to use is totally false. It depends on what you're juicing. Root vegetables are hard texture. They're hard for us to chew. It's going to be hard for the juicer, hard for you to push in the juicer. Something like a leaf that could go between those two augers as they're running around will literally get sucked in. Like you could put a little bit of wheatgrass in there, it'll suck it in. And actually, of all these juicers, if I was juicing wheatgrass, I would choose this machine. It'll juice wheatgrass better than the others, but I would juice wheatgrass with carrots. This machine, if you're juicing straight greens, tends to foam, although it is called the Greens Power Juicer. This is a good machine for juicing greens with carrots. So if you're juicing greens with carrots, then this is the best machine in terms of yield compared to all other slow juicers out there. If you're juicing mostly greens without a lot of carrots, that's when I would go for a horizontal auger. This style machine, while you can juice wheatgrass in it, I have a video juicing in the VSJ, which is similar to this, uncut wheatgrass, and it really binds up, jams, and does not work well. The following year, I took wheatgrass that I cut up it with scissors into little bits, and then I was easily able to juice it in a vertical. Why hassle with having to cut stuff up when you got the pocket recessed teeth that are going to do the cutting for you automatically, all right? So that's this machine here. Runs on 2 twin gears to get a better grind. Over on the NAMA on this side, how this works is you got 2 feed chutes, one small one here, and that's interesting to see which one is actually smaller, a little bit different shape. This is 1 1/4 inches square, by this is like maybe a little bit less, maybe like 1 inch by probably like 1. Let me take a look at that actually. I've never kind of compared those. Yeah, so this one, the Green Star Pro, is a little bit larger because basically this would have to be enlarged in a square. So this actually has a larger drop-down feed chute, although this does have a larger side entry feed chute that goes basically here and then down. So, this doesn't really work too good if you're juicing a long carrot and it won't fit through the feed chute. If you have pre-cut carrots, you could put the carrots in here and flick them in, or I juice berries in here. This is perfect for berries. You could put the berries here and just flick them in a little bit at a time. But for like a long cucumber, you got to cut in half or even quarters. And actually, I juiced in this machine romaine lettuce hearts. Then in some juices, I could literally cut the romaine lettuce hearts in half. In this, I had to cut it into quarters. So once again, pros and cons of every machine that other influencers may not point out. This has also been, one of the main things I dislike about this. And I'm honest, I tell it like it is. I use these machines. This is why my machine's quite stained, and I'm working on getting the stains out, and that'll be another video. But I use the machines, and I want to share with you guys the honest truth, because I don't really care what juicer you buy. I do care that you actually buy a juicer and start using it. So I'm telling you the truth so that you guys can get the right one, so that you will be a juicer for life. That is more important than me making a commission, me making any money on a juicer, is that you get the right one and you're a juicer for life. Because that way, if everybody in the world started juicing and changed their diet, started eating healthier, I believe people will start thinking better, they'll start thinking more clearly, they'll start being more pragmatic, because junk food, in my opinion, causes crazy people. All right, so how this machine works is this is an auger, and how the auger, you put produce in the auger, and there's only one auger in here, 100% GE Ultim plastic, that is known to contain, that is known to have BPA before it is manufactured. Although they say after it's manufactured, it does not contain BPA free. Meanwhile, I'm not sure the material this is made out of. It's probably Triton, but I know in the Green Star Pro, there is no BPA contained. They use a special nylon plastic that is prone to staining, but doesn't contain any BPA in it. But this is known to have BPA as it goes into the plastic mold, although they say it is quote-unquote burned off. So this, I would say, is virtually BPA free, but that's just my personal opinion. You're going to have to look towards the manufacturer to see what their claims exactly are. So this has a hollow auger underneath, and how this works is this basically you put the produce in here, and as it is juiced in the screen, so it doesn't go to a grinding stage first, it literally just gets pushed in. It's ground up on a first stage, which is this first set of screens, and then the second stage, but most of the work is done by the second set of the screens, because unless you're using something like an orange, not a lot of juice comes out this top set. But basically it's just ground up without any kind of mixing. It's ground up and then the juice instantly starts flowing out. As the produce runs down the single auger and presses between the auger and the juicing screen, and you can see there are some creases, if you look closely, on the inside of my screen. That's because I put in a lot of produce, and it's literally bending my screen. This is something I have not seen in the Green Star Pro, and over time this will likely break my screen, even though I use the best techniques to use my juicer nicely. It is still doing this for me in my juicer. And then what happens is, as the produce gets ground up, it comes between the little spaces between the juicing screen and the auger. It is then all pushed out there, which then allows it to basically come out down this ejection port, which has this little lever that you could open or close that will need to be cleaned. And actually, just the other day when I was cleaning this, I was known to have a lot of buildup on the top of this part, because this part is extremely difficult to clean. Another point that I don't like about the NAMA. I started to point out things I like and don't like about every juicer, not just the NAMA, right? I like the NAMA for some reasons, I don't like it for other reasons. I like the Green Star Pro for some reasons, I don't like it for others. The Breville, I like it because it's fast, but I like it pretty much for no other reason, personally. All right. Oh, and I like that it's faster to clean than these other two because I'm about to clean these up when I'm done. All right. Then also the NEMA has, unlike some other juicers out there, it has like a little gear that comes out. And actually, this one I don't usually take out to clean, so it's actually I'm collecting kind of juice crud in between here that I probably should take out a little bit more. In addition, you know, you have to clean the bottom of this. The NEMA does have a built-in, bearing in here. And wait, when I'm turning this, all right, I think it's working all right, but it's kind of squeaking. But yeah, there's a double bearing. So most juicers are direct drive, so the direct drive goes to turn that blade directly. The drive in the Green Star Pro goes through a gearbox and then turns the gears. The motor on here is probably direct goes through a motor, then a gearbox, and then goes through this shaft, which then the shaft is then transferring the energy into this shaft here, which then turns the little top piece, which turns this. So you guys know that are into mechanics and electrical engineering or engineering, all this stuff. When you start going through different connection points, you start losing some power. That being said, you know, in my opinion, the NEMA has the most torque of any vertical juicer that I've tested to date for home juicers, not necessarily if we're going to bring commercial ones into the factor. So I do like that about the NEMA. So yeah, so a little bit more nooks and crannies to clean. The other thing that happens to me on the NEMA when you use it for a long period of time, the motor shaft gets hot. It transfers the heat to this, motor shaft spline that then goes into this piece that then goes and connects the auger. And when things get hot, things expand. When things get cold, they contract. So I've had it before where literally the juicing parts will be stuck on top of the juicer because the metal is expanded. I'll have to either really rack it really hard and try to wiggle it and finally, get it out. I've never had the auger stuck inside the Green Star Pro or the blade be stuck on the Breville, but I have had this happen to me on several occasions on the NEMA. Now I do use the NEMA hard. While there is a 30-minute duty cycle, and for most people using it 30 minutes, it's probably going to happen to you, although it might if you're jamming in celery, and it's creating a lot more friction and heat, because heat could not only be caused by the heat of the motor turning, but in this machine, it definitely produces more frictional heat than the others. In my recent video where I juiced lettuce, I believe it to create some frictional heat due to the pulp not coming out as fast, because they did reduce they increased the torque, which then makes this a better grinder than other verticals. And then they also recently increased the hole size to allow the pulp to come out, but there's still a lot of back pressure that then, if the pulp's not free flowing, is going to cause more heat and oxidation of the juice, which I will be testing in this episode. Oh, and then also, of course, you have a wiping blade, which is kind of nice. It's another part to clean, but it does help keep things squeegee sponging off the screen. Honestly, I do wish the Green Star Pro had some kind of wiping blade to keep the screen a little bit cleaner, because the screen is the hardest part to clean on the Green Star Pro, although they give you a special scraping tool that was also not mentioned in the other video to make screen cleaning easier. And you just put on this feed chute. So that's how all of these machines work. And I think next what we're going to do is we're going to do a sound test. We're going to turn the NEMA on, and maybe I'll have the sound tester here so you guys can see it. And I can't necessarily read that, but I'll be quiet for a second so that you guys can see what it is. I think it was reading like 62, 63, if that was right. And then over on the Green Star Pro, I'm reading like 56 when I just kind of look at it. When I talk, it's a lot more, of course. So technically this one's a little bit quieter than the NEMA, although it was said that the NEMA is more loud, although it is a different vibrational hum. And then on the Breville, there's 2 speeds, so we will test both speeds for you. Here's one speed. That looks like to me that it was 77, 78. All right, now let's check the low speed on the Breville. That's actually 61. So the low speed is generally for things like soft fruits, and inside the instruction booklet they say what speed is for what. You know, I would prefer not to remember what speed is for what, because you might be juicing carrots and apples, then what? You just change the speed in the middle of juicing. To me, that's humbug. I'd rather just use like one juicer, turn it on, and juice everything in it, because the speed is optimized for the design. They're trying to overcompensate for this juicer style not juicing certain produce items that well by making a lower speed, which to some extent does help a little bit, but it's not the total solution. All right, so you guys learned the decibels on there, and actually in my test, in this instance, I believe the Green Star Pro one, although you were looking at that and I couldn't see it from the same thing, and when I start to turn it, it might have made the numbers a little bit different. So yeah, we're already into this video a fairly long time, but what I want to do next for you guys is actually we're going to go ahead and juice some carrots. So now we're ready to do the weigh-in. I got mostly carrots with 1 cucumber because I want to make sure I have enough produce to fill about approximate 32-ounce quart mason jar. Anyways, let's go ahead and do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. All right, let's go ahead and give you guys a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. We got a bunch of carrots and 1 cucumber. Over on the Breville, looks like we got 1751 grams. Over on the middle scale, 1751 grams, and over on the NAMA scale, 1751. Just to kind of back up, sure you guys, we ain't doing no trick photography here. Took me a while to make sure all the scales are correct. 1751 on all 3 scales. Looks like we have a fair fight. So now that we've done a weigh-in, we're going to go ahead and do a thermometer check to see if the Breville heats a juice or not. Okay, so let's see, we're going to go ahead and put the thermometer. We got a little red dot. Looks like holding at 51 degrees. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll test the other produce, but it's all been treated the same. This one's reading out at 51.5, so it's pretty much the same. And we are testing the carrots. This one's reading out at 51 exactly, and this is on average. I'm not going to say this is like exactly accurate. Every carrot is exactly 51, but based on the infrared thermometer, we're going to say it's 51. I'm going to leave that out there, so hopefully I will remember to check the temperature of the juice after it is created, since I don't normally do this, but I want to have an all-encompassing video. All right, so once we got the weigh-in, got the temperature 51 degrees, we're going to go ahead and move these scales out of the way, because I will probably need to get a cutting board out and really pre-cut some of the produce aside that's going in the slow juicers, but not the Breville. So before I get started, I want to talk about what can influence the yield when doing a comparison test. I will make probably a detailed video because there's a lot of things I thought of about this. But number one, you have to understand that I strive to make my videos as accurate as possible. I'll wash all the carrots, cut them all, then I'll try to take the same exact size carrot and put it in the same exact bowl. In addition, when I purchase carrots to do in juice offs, I generally purchase them all in one bunch at the same time. I wish I could get them all from the same bag, so they're from the same field and they're approximately the same age. If using older produce in one machine, newer produce in another that has less water content, that may upset the balance. These were purchased actually at Sam's Club for organic carrots. This is the best place to buy organic carrots. $2.74 near me for 5 pounds of organic carrots. They were bought in 2 bags, and so I used all the rest, 1 bag whole and partial bag, because that's all I had left, because I have been juicing carrots over the last week. And then I got these English cucumbers that are Winset, grown in California, that are hothouse grown, all purchased at the same time, and they're starting to get a little bit old, as you can tell by the yellowing, so they're not as good for eating, but they'll be fine for juicing. They contain a lot of water content. Now, in general, this is in general, and this is the standard rule, so if you see a little bit more or a little bit less than this amount, this can be considered normal. But in general, most modern juicers, unless it's defective, not being operated correctly, based on the produce weight, will make about 1 cup of juice per 1 pound of produce. In general, right? Different things are a bit different. A good juicer on carrots, for example, will put 1 cup of juice. Auger juicers will make less. Might be, 7 ounces or 6, and that's acceptable. But if it's making like 2 ounces or 3 ounces, then there's a problem, Houston. All right. So that's what I'm going to say about that. And I guess with that, let's get started. We're going to go ahead and turn on the Breville on the high speed mode, not the low speed. And then we're just going to go ahead and hit start and get juicing. I will speed up the juicing process, but keep it uncut so you guys can see the whole process. Press start, turn it on, and start putting produce in the machine. Alright, that's pretty much it for the Breville. We're going to hit stop. Looks like it took about 40 seconds of juice. All that juice in the Breville, you guys saw, was very loud. And you can see basically the air basically pushed the juice out because there'll be some juice collected at the bottom. The juice is also really frothy. And let's check the juice. 51 temperatures going in and going out. Oh my God. It heated the juice. 57 degrees. It's like 6.5 degrees hotter. According to this, we test the side of the glass. Yeah. 57 degrees, top of the glass, 56.5. So why don't we just say 6-degree difference on the Breville? So yes, the Breville heated the juice. Oh my God! So is a 6-degree temperature change in the juice a bad thing? Well, I think the big issue with the heat is that above 118 degrees, or maybe even 105, but it depends on the enzyme. Enzymes are deactivated. This got nowhere near that. Every juicer will add some heat to the juice to some extent. We'll see what these other juicers do. But in my opinion, 6 degrees is not significant. What is more significant is, as we turn this up, is all the freaking air bubbles in there, man. I'm more concerned about the air bubbles than the heat. Next, let's get juicing the Green Star Pro. I probably have to cut this cucumber up, but we will do that while the timer is running. And I'm running a timer so you guys can see the actual time. And I'm going to speed up the process. Basically, what you want to do is you want to try to rotate the items. So you want to put a little cucumber, then some carrot behind it, little cucumber, carrot behind it, and just keep doing that. So I could probably be a little bit efficient where I'm, kind of multitasking at once. I'll cut while I'm feeding and pushing things in with the pusher that I'm not going to have to push all my strength into. The other thing is I want you guys to choose, a smaller diameter carrots. They're going to be easier to push than super big fat ones, especially if they get stuck in the feed chute, which then it's almost impossible to push down. So if you do want it easier, cut your carrots lengthwise, even into nice little strips. It'll make feeding a lot easier, and in some cases you might not even have to push if you get them cut thin enough. Yeah, so that's all I'll say about that. Let's go ahead and reset the timer here, and let's go ahead and hit start and get the machine running. So we're gonna go ahead and take a carrot, just put it through the juicer, and look at this, one finger pushing in. Does it take all my strength? Now it is taking some strength down at the bottom, but it's literally one finger. Maybe I'm not strong, maybe other people that are making videos are not that strong, right? Here we go. Here's 2 fingers, oops, as long as you get it centered on the auger on the carrot. 2 fingers going in, not a big deal. And once again, this is totally cranked down, super tight, okay? Go ahead and get another carrot, and we're going to start cutting up that cucumber as we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and speed this video up for you guys. Dismiss that. Speed this video up for you guys to save you guys some time. Alright, last carrot going in, the Green Star Pro. I started using my fist instead of just one finger. This largest diameter carrot is taking a little bit of downward strength. But generally, if we, let's see, we got some pulp overflow here. I should use a different collection cup. This one's a little bit small. But this is what happens. I mean, I can see you definitely got to provide a bigger bowl, and I didn't. So that's my fault. Alright. So last carrot in the machine. Let's go ahead and turn this off here. Let's see, stop. So I'm going to say 4.5 minutes to juice all these carrots in the Green Star Pro. And we made a ton of juice. Let's go ahead and let this drip a little bit more. I like to tip the machine up and then back a little bit, get some additional drips out of the machine. And we'll pull this juice out for you guys, front and center. And let's do a temperature check. Oh my God! It heated up the juice! No joke! Alright, so what is it? 57.5. What was the Breville? I think that's still like about a 6.5 degree temperature difference. So it's pretty much the same exact difference. You know, both these machines heated the juice! Ah! Alright, so if somebody says, oh, that one heat the juice and the other ones don't, they're not accurate, in my opinion. I would say they're being deceitful, or maybe they're just not that smart. Alright, so next let's go ahead and juice in the NAMA. I will probably need more pre-cutting because this one will have the smallest feed chute, whereas this has a square feed chute. This one does not have, this one has a more oval kind of stadium feed chute, and some of the carrots may not fit properly. So let's go ahead and reset the stopwatch for you guys, move it front and center so you guys can see it. And let's go ahead and open the spout cap, make sure this is the closed position, make sure we're all set up, and let's go ahead and hit the start button and turn this machine on, and we're off to the races, alright? So first I always like to just take a carrot and dump the carrot in there and just drop it in. Let's see if it auto feeds. Now the most important thing when using a juicer like the NAMA is to let the carrot feed in on its own at its own pace unless it's getting stuck. Like I dropped that carrot in there, and you could, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's literally, it's sitting in the top of the auger. The auger is spinning and the carrot is not dropping down. So in that case you would need to use the pusher instead of the pusher. I like to use actually another carrot to push it in, so we provide a little bit of push on there, drop the next carrot in, and it is going, you know, perfectly. So I'm probably going to cut this into little discs so I could use a side entry feed chute, but as I'm cutting I can drop in the next carrot, which basically doesn't fit in, so we could have to push that past and let it drop in. And then if we let it drop in and let it self-feed like it was advertised in another video, oh, you don't gotta push nothing in. Yeah, wrong. Have you used a juicer and are actually you saying accurate stuff? I mean, this is why I'm not the biggest fan of the NAMA, because you can push something in and it'll sit and spin on the top and it won't get juiced. Other juicers like the VS Shape 43 and the Slow Star by TriBest, things feed in a little bit easier. Oh, let's move these carrots out the way so you guys can see the juicing process here. And now we're going to go ahead and take a disc. Oh, that didn't even go down in yet. Now we're going to help that along and push it in. For best results, so you don't overload the machine, always best to let things drop in one at a time. Put a carrot in, a cucumber, put another cucumber around, and then we're going to go ahead and drop another carrot in there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and speed this up for you guys to save you guys some time. Alright, last carrot going into the NAMA juicer. I've definitely let it have time to work. I basically didn't have to use the pusher. I used the carrot to dislodge the previous carrot if it didn't go in, so that's good. One less part to clean. And we're just letting this work. We've pretty much got a lot of juice made. Now, most important, right? If somebody's showing you juicing and they turn the machine off right after they put the last carrot in, you're going to lose yield and there's going to be more residual pulp inside the machine when you're done. I recently had I got to turn this off, sorry. Stop. So it took 5 minutes and 16 seconds. I was blabbing for a little bit, so maybe say 5 minutes plus we didn't turn this machine off yet. Juice is still flowing out, so maybe we'll turn it off right now and call this a test right now. And so basically, yes, of course, the Breville was quickest, and actually the Green Star Pro runs at a faster RPM, a little bit over 100 RPM. It was actually a little bit quicker than the NAMA, but maybe you could say these two are the same exact time for juicing, but we're going to check out the yields in a minute. But yeah, so this one took actually even more time. So trying to, make out it takes the least time or whatever. I don't know if it's accurate. I would say at least, in general, if you're doing larger volumes, and depends on what you're juicing, because this runs a bit faster, I've noticed this is a little bit faster actually than a vertical, especially if it's having problems, things are not getting accepted properly. But once again, let's go ahead and check this juice. Did it heat the juice up? Oh my God! Look at this! The NAMA at 61.5 degrees. It heated the juice up the most! Oh my God! Actually, the Breville heated the juice less! So trying to say that the Breville heated the juice more is totally preposterous. These machines heated the juice less. The auger juicer heated the juice more. Now, why would this happen? Not because air is going in there. While there is some air in there, It's mostly the friction at the bottom because the NAMA grinds better. Once again, pro and con. They chose to make it grind better, and it makes the tolerances where the pulp comes out are a little bit tighter. That means there's going to be more heat generated, and or the influence of the motor shaft and the motor running longer and not dissipating the heat well goes to the shaft and then transfers somehow to the juice. But I would definitely say it's probably due to the grinding aspect made the juice even warmer than the Breville. So, you know, what I'm against in life is, you know, I'm not against people having their opinions. That's totally great. You could have your own opinions. But when people are misconstruing the facts, that's when I get upset. And unfortunately, I can't dispel all the facts from the myths about juicing. But I cannot do that with other aspects of the world, unfortunately, because I'm not an expert. But I am an expert in juicing. So on the Green Star Pro, we did have to use a different collection cup because this collection cup would not fit underneath the juicer. So we're going to go ahead and pour this out so you guys can see even Steven the exact yield that each juicer made to see if the NAMA actually made significantly. I mean, I'm not just saying it made, you know, in the video that I saw, it made significantly more juice, which to me, I mean, that was just like, I don't know, that made me upset, actually. All right, so let's go ahead and move the juices back, and let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up on the yield. All right, let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up here over on the Breville juice. Let's see, I don't know, the juice line looks to me like right around 650, and then there's like 2 layers of foam, which is tough. But there's significant foam in there, at least like, I don't know, 650 to like 850 almost of foam. So I mean, that's a lot of foam in there. Over on the Green Star Pro juice, looks like it made basically just under 800 milliliters of juice. And then going over to the NAMA, did it make significantly more juice? Oops, I passed it up. It basically made just a little bit over 800 milliliters of juice. So in this unstrained test, as you guys could see, we'll get all 3 of them in the shot at once. The NAMA and the GS Pro, Green Star Pro, was pretty much similar. I mean, maybe one made more than another, and it also depends on, you know, what you're juicing, the speed that you're juicing. I was kind of rather going at a faster clip. But more importantly, I'm showing yields, but yields only one aspect. And I want you guys to notice the separation. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but I surely can. Right at this level right here, you could see a little bit of separation. If we kind of look at the side and compare it, there's a little bit of separation in the juice. I don't know if the camera is going to pick that up for you guys. And then if we look on the Green Star Pro, I mean, it's a much more solid and congealed juice through and through. I'm not seeing any major separation. I want you guys to look at the top layer right there. So this, you know, to me is an indicator of the quality of the juice. Of course, I can't run any nutritional analysis, but if I did, I would definitely bet money, and I'm not a betting man, that the Green Star Pro made more because of the better grind on the produce that we will look at in a minute. And then I would definitely bet that also the Breville made the least nutritious juice personally. I mean, there's lots of different separation layers right at the top. Going to go back over the NAMA again. Maybe it's settled a little bit more. And we did make the NAMA juice last. I don't know if you guys could see that. I mean, it's pretty clear to me that by the top, there's basically 2 layers. You got a foam layer, then you got a sub-foam layer that's actually in the juice, and then you got the layer below that. And once again, looking at the Green Star Pro, you know, it's basically just all the same color. Now, once again, this is an unstrained comparison. Each juicer may put some pulp in the juice, so we'll be straining out the juice next. All right, so you guys just saw that basically the NAMA and the Green Star Pro, for all practical purposes, were pretty much neck and neck. It's hard to say the NAMA will always make more than the Green Star Pro, but I will say that the NAMA did perform well. You know, for juicing carrots, I am impressed for sure. I mean, that's why it is one of my favorite vertical juicers if I want the maximum yield, but I don't mind the small feed chute and the hassle of it not dropping in and the short warranty. Otherwise, actually, it's a fairly decent unit, right? We can't really check the pulp for you guys. We'll check the pulp in a minute. I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. It's going to be quite fun. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and use a sieve on this glass jar. And these jars have like some measuring points on them on the side. So we're going to go ahead and put those up and we're going to strain the juice. Maybe we'll start with the straining the Nama juice first over on this side, since the Breville is going to get a lot of particulate in there. And maybe I'll even weigh out the pulp after using a sieve to sieve it out. Now, let's see, none of these juicers except the Green Star Pro include an additional sieve, just in case you want to remove the pulp out of the machine. The Nama is a juicer that does put some of the least pulp from a vertical juicer that I've tested personally. That being said, the vertical juicers and auger juicers generally put more pulp in the juice than other styles of juicers. So we got my scale here, and we're just going to go ahead and tap this out all the way. And you guys can see there's a fair bit of pulp, which will reduce the yield for sure. And we're going to shake out, try to get all the juice out so that my cleanup is a little bit easier. And let's go ahead and zero out the scale. And 0 grams, and we're going to tap that pulp on the scale. We got 20 grams of pulp, okay? And we pretty much got a full jar, right? And, you know, some people's jars was overflowing, and I'm not exactly sure their volume of carrots, but as you guys saw, we did carrots with 1 cucumber. I think I had like 1237 approximately of the carrots, and the rest was the cucumbers. All right, next on to the Green Star Pro juice. Pouring this out. So far, so good. Actually, there's very little pulp being poured out. At the bottom, I suppose it's going to collect. And that's where it's going to be. So I'm going to put it around like a brandy snifter to get all the pulp out. And there is actually a fair bit of pulp inside here. Yeah, so definitely the Nama so far probably put less pulp in. Let's see if I had to guess this, because I normally guess and I don't weigh. Let's see, it was 20 grams on the Nama. I'm going to say 35 grams is my estimate here. All right? So let's go ahead and plop that down. Oh, my estimate was wrong. It's 23 grams, so I put a tad bit more pulp, you know, than the Nama did into the juice, okay? So you guys can see the difference. And then finally, we got the Breville juicer, right? So the Breville juice going in basically looks to be fairly pulp-free, although we have lots of foam that is caught by the sieve, or sieve. And we're going to shake that down for you guys. Even through sieving out, lots of foam here. I don't know if I should even weigh the foam here, because if I just keep tapping this out, we're just going to put more foam into the cup. And then we got a little bit of stuff left. We'll try to weigh it. 3 grams. Wait, we got a little bit more. 3 grams. All right. So that's what we got. We got 3 grams. So that's what the end result looks like. And this would be a totally fair comparison. Yes, the Nama made a hair bit more than the Green Star Pro for sure. But once again, yield is only one aspect. Let's go ahead and next taste the juice for you guys. Let's see, I'm going to taste the Breville juice first. Once again, this is subjective on this part. Wow, that cucumber was really not super sweet. It's a little bit greening, a little bit old mature. I mean, to me, this kind of tastes more watery. And really not a good carrot juice. Carrots aren't super sweet either. But yeah, I taste the water and I taste the foam. I taste watery, foamy. Watery/foamy is how I would describe that. Next, let's go for the Green Star Pro Juice. Wow. That's a difference. So this one kind of tastes more bitter. This one still, I kind of get some bitter overtones, but actually you have a nice sweetness to it. I'm still detecting that watery, but I would say it's full-bodied. Yeah, definitely not the most nutritious juice ever made. And then finally, onto the Nama juice. Once again, after you sample off juice, you cannot then recompare again, because you might pour more to sample than you're showing on the camera. So now we will no longer use this for comparison purposes. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and vacuum store it in the fridge for up to 5 days. And actually I'm going to probably drink this juice today since we just made it. And this juice easily safe for 5 days. This I would go for 3 days because of the higher antioxidant content, phytochemical content in the juice. The more of it is there for you, that could benefit your health, but also more of it can benefit and help protect the juice from further oxidative damage. All right, now we're trying the Nema juice. Wow, that even tastes a little bit different than this juice or this juice. I'm going to say if I had to rank the juices in like best flavor to worst, I'd say Green Star Pro first, then I'd say Nema, and then I'd say the Breville. Once again, this is subjective. There's a bigger difference between the Breville and these two versus these two, but I taste, I would prefer to drink the Green Star Pro juice myself. All right, so we're going to do something a little bit fun today. We're going to go ahead and move these aside here. And this is only something you can do really in the Green Star Pro. We're going to go ahead and rejuice the pulp, right? Well, you could rejuice pulp and the Breville put all the pulp back through. This would be basically a futile effort. You're going to make a bigger mess and make very little juice because once it's pulped, it's not going to be more effective at grinding up more better. more. On the Nema, you could put the pulp back through the machine and push it in, but frankly, what's going to happen is the pulp is going to back up in the machine. The pulp will not flow through due to the design, and you're going to also make a mess, although you will make more juice from rejuicing the pulp through the Nema than the Breville. But honestly, juicing the pulp works best if you want to get every last drop out of the Green Star Pro. Once again, every juicer style has its own set of pros and cons, and to be fun, this is the pulp out of the Green Star Pro, which we will not juice. We're going to actually juice the pulp that came out of the Nema to see if the pulp is still wet. Actually, just pulling that pulp out, I feel some wetness in here, but better than me squeezing it, because that's once again, squeezing the pulp and seeing what comes out is subjective, because you might squeeze less or more. I tend to squeeze the same exact amount every single time, but running the pulp through a juicer is actually more objective, because the juicer don't lie. If there's juice in the pulp, then the juicer will be pulling it out. All right, so I need another collection cup here. And let's go ahead and turn this machine on. And let's go ahead and take handfuls of the Nema pulp and pour it through the Green Star Pro. And let's see what happens actually. So we're going to go ahead and speed this up for you guys to save you guys some time. Alright, we just got done juicing all the Nema pulp through the Green Star Pro to see if the Green Star Pro could be more efficient than the Nema and even get the Nema pulp drier, which, let's see, I like to tip the machine up a little bit, see if there's any more drops in there. Now be aware when you do rejuice pulp, this will be more pulpier than the first time through just because you are rejuicing pulp. We have a little measuring cup here to see how much more juice we made. Let's see, we're on the ounce side. Look at that. Oh my God. We made more. Oh, we're up to the top. So let's see. It only goes up. Maybe we'll pour this out twice. So that goes to like 5 ounces. So we made 5 ounces additional. Right there. And then we made... let's see. 1.5 ounces more. So 6.5 ounces. So converting to milliliters, so we have a fair, accurate comparison. We made basically 150 milliliters plus 50 milliliters, so that's 200 milliliters compared to approximately 800 milliliters previously. So you guys could figure out the math on that. Let's see, 80 milliliters would be 10% more, is that right? 20% more is 160 milliliters. So this made like 15% more juice approximately, which is the math out of my head, is what I get. So yes, the Nema is not fully efficient. Neither is the Pro, because we could rejuice the Pro pulp once again and get more pulp out, but it shows the efficiency, more pragmatically than objectively by doing a pulp squeeze test, okay? Also, I want to remind you guys that every juicer will leave some pulp in the juice that is not juiced. And if we do take apart the NEMA, this is where, there's a lot of chambers and passageways in here where the pulp can collect. And basically that's what you're seeing. A lot of pulp still in the juicer, alright? So I think I got one more test to do. Oh my god, I got celery to do. I really don't want to juice celery. This video's already been really long, but I want the truth to be told. As you guys saw with the carrots, the Breville did make less than the NEMA or the Green Star Pro. The NEMA did make a tad bit more than the Green Star Pro. Green Star Pro put a little bit more pulp in the juice, but also the NEMA heated the juice more of it. If heat's bad, then you actually don't want to buy the NEMA, right? If you want a longer warranty, then hey, the parts warranty on the NEMA is 2 years. It's 15 years on the entire juicer. And I basically just like to tell you guys, pros and cons, and you guys could determine, if you're going to move in 2 years or 3 years or whatever, you don't really care what happens if the juicer is not under warranty. You could get the NEMA and get something else because actually they're going to come out with a better juicer in a couple years, or get the Green Star Pro, which is pretty much stable product. They're not going to improve this at any great length at present time. That's just kind of what it is. Every juicer has their own set of pros and cons that I pretty much get into in my other videos. Alright, so I've done a minimal cleaning. Basically that means clean the screens of each juicer, and we still got the residues from the previous juicer. This will basically be more like a real world comparison, because in general you're not going to just juice only carrots, and actually many of you guys may just juice only celery, but I want to show you guys how celery is going to juice. So let's go ahead and first do a weigh-in, because we're going to juice out even amounts of celery uncut in all 3 juicers to show you guys what actually happens. Alright, next let's go ahead and do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. Over on the Breville side we got, looks like 1222. In the middle, Green Star Pro 1222, and over on the NEMA 1222. Let's go ahead and back up and see we get all 1222 is all in the same shot. Looks like we got it. So yeah, 1222 grams of celery. So now that we got a fair weigh-in, we're going to go ahead and move these celeries off the scales and move the scales out the way, and we're going to go ahead and get juicing. So I want to explain to you guys what I've done, since I already have an enormous amount of juicers to clean after this. Normally I clean like 1 or maybe 2 juicers when I'm juicing for myself. Today I'll be cleaning 3, and I didn't want to have to clean 3 juicers 2 times. So basically I removed the screen out of each machine, which is the most important part to clean, because that's going to get crudded up and will affect the yield. There is some carrot pulp particulate that should not affect how the machine juices the next item, the celery. If you got, and I encourage you guys, right? Make the videos, buy both machines, do the test so you can see what exactly happens, right? In general, you're going to see trends. Like in my test I just did with carrots, the NEMA beat the Green Star Pro by a little bit, but next time I do it, the Green Star Pro might be the NEMA by a little bit. It's, kind of like a friend that you're lifting weights with, that you're pretty much evenly matched, and if you're having a bad day, then you might lose, but if your friend's having a better day, he might win. So it's kind of like a toss-up. So these guys were pretty close. And even in my last video where I compared the NEMA to the Breville actually made 10% more juice, right, than the NEMA, but in this time it didn't. But also I used pure carrots last time. With this I did carrots with cucumber, and when pulling out the pulp of the cucumber, or the pulp out of the Breville, there were large chunks of cucumber that did not get juiced. Also depends on the speed rate. If you go a little bit slower, you will yield a little bit more. If you go faster, you're going to yield a little bit less when growing on a Breville. So that's why I always recommend going at a slow and steady pace. So I try to maybe slow down a little bit when juicing the cucumbers. I have washed all the collection cups today. So we have basically clean celery juice, although once again some residuals on the inside. And the pulp catch cups are still basically, the same, just emptied, okay? This is a lot of work to do one of these videos. I hope you guys appreciate it. Basically, this took me from my entire day. I was supposed to be out gardening today, but instead I'm making a video for you because it's important for me to tell the truth and not have inaccurate information out there. I feel sorry and unfortunate for people that have just watched one video and not do their due diligence to watch other videos to see, if basically stories match. If your husband's lying to you, if you ask 5 of your friends and each of them give you a different story, who's true? Well, maybe the one that always, that they say the same story more than once, and what's more plausible. I like to think I'm more balanced approach. And yes, every juice sauce is a bit different. Also, it depends on what produce you're juicing, right? In the carrots, the Nema fared fairly well. In celery, we're going to see how it does. You know, my estimation is that it's going to really jam up on celery. And what the person who made a video juicing celery in the Nema previously, said, look, there's barely any celery in here. That's because it's all in the juice. To me, that's an inaccurate statement. The pulp doesn't all go in the juice. It has to go somewhere. There will be significantly more pulp than what was in the pulp catch cup, and the reason for that is that it's all stuck inside the juicer, and unless I had my own cash, or a lot of cash, to pay somebody to basically get this machine undone when you're done, the auger gets jacked up, and basically this top makes it very difficult, if not almost impossible, to remove when not pre-cutting your celery like I show in the video below. Also, we'll give you the fair warning. Do not do this at home. Do not juice celery uncut in the Nema at home. While Nema does say you could do that, if you buy it from them, and do that, great. But if you buy your Nema juicer from me, do not do that, because I'm telling you in advance, you are going to set yourself up for failure. And my goal is to set you up with success and give you guys the truth. And, vertical juicers are more difficult to use with celery. You do have to pre-cut. When I juice and I'm pre-cutting quickly, it saves me time. But for some of you guys, might not like pre-cutting, might not having to chop things up, and you just want to push things through the juicer, it's probably not going to save you time, especially if you're doing low quantities of juice. And that's where like the Green Star Pro will save you time. My estimate is that the Breville will be the quickest, the Green Star Pro will be second fastest, and the Nema, due to the celery and the clogging and the backup and the more extreme pressure that the that it provides, is going to get clogged up and jammed. Oh, and we're also going to test the temperature once again. All right, so we got the temp gun here, temping the celery there, 58.8. I don't know if you guys can see that on there. Let's see, this celery, 58.5, 57.5. We'll just call that 58. And this one's actually 59. I don't know, it depends what piece I test. 59, there's a 58, 57.5. It's a little bit over the place, but around 58, I say would be the average. We'll leave my temp gun out so that it reminds me to check the temperature after I'm done juicing, because I don't normally do this, but I want to share with you guys the truth, and I know the truth, but many of you guys may not know the truth after just watching a single video, and that's why I make so many videos, right? You want to look for trends. If you're going to consider the Nema, watch all the videos I made about the Nema. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Watch all the videos. If you're thinking about a Green Star Pro, watch all the videos on the Green Star Pro. You'll learn different things in different videos on features you might like about the juicer or what you don't like. If you're never going to juice celery or carrots, this video doesn't mean a lot. If you're juicing only romaine lettuce like I did in one video with the Nema, you definitely want to watch the video down below, VSJ versus the Nema. And in my opinion, I wouldn't buy the Nema if I was just solely juicing romaine lettuce. But here's the thing. Every juice has its pros and cons, depending on your needs, depending on actually what you're juicing too. And nobody tells you that, except me. I tell you, man, if you're gonna juice certain things, certain juices are better for certain things than others. And that's why I ask people that say, John, what's the best juicer? I'm like, I don't know. What are you juicing? Because I want to fit you with the juicer that's going to best juice items you want, so that you'll be more happy and you'll juice more and you'll get the benefits. All right? Enough of that. Quite passionate about juicing of all things in the world. But yeah, let's go ahead and juice the Breville once again. In the Breville, we want to put it on high speed to juice the celery. So we're going to go ahead, let me move this out the way for you guys. Hit start, turn this machine on, and we're going to go ahead and crank some celery in there. Alright, so we're done juicing celery, and it was 50 seconds in the Breville, although one piece dropped, so I need to pick it up, but we're not going to count that in the time. Alright, that's it for the Breville. Let's go ahead and turn that thing off. Now, the Breville is loud. It is the loudest juicer, and I do guarantee that. Alright, looks like it made about 700 milliliters from my view here, and plenty of foam. Oh, and let's go ahead and check the temperature here. I will spin that guy up. Oh, I could, maybe tip that up a little bit. You have to tip this up extremely a lot to basically get all the juice in the bottom to go up to the top. Spin that up, and let's go ahead and check the temperature on this guy. Checking through the foam, 61, 60.5. Let's see, measure the side, through the side. We'll just go with the 61. So 61 degrees is what it was. Let's see, what was it before? I don't know, 58 or was it 61? I don't even know, but whatever, I remember 61. Next up, Green Star Pro. Luckily, nothing will have to be pre-cut this time. And let's go ahead and juice in the Green Star Pro, one celery stalk at a time. I really like, make sure our outlet adjusting knob is cranked down. If it is like halfway down, you will get maybe half the yield you should have gotten. Once again, out of the machine at first, we're getting some of the carrot pulp, as the celery pulp is now pushing all the carrot pulp through the machine. And all the celery, strings will be totally cut up by the Green Star Pro. No other juicer basically does this. Like, celery can wrap around a champion blade. It can basically get stuck in a vertical juicer. On a horizontal juicer, it'll send out whole pieces of celery strings, like whole, although it will not generally bind or jam in the juicer just due to the design. But this juicer actually basically uses those little pocket recessed teeth to grind up the celery strings, and likewise, or thus, extracting valuable nutrients out of the strings or out of the fiber, because it is grinding those up to a smaller particle size. This is why I like the Green Star Pro, because it does a better job at grinding things up, making things to a smaller particle size compared to all other slow juicers. In some cases, it will also net you more yield. In other cases, it won't. But in all cases, in my personal opinion, based on my juicing, it will create a higher nutritional quality, and that's why this is the machine I recommend for people. This is the machine I would use, actually, if I had some kind of debilitating, health situation that I needed to recover from, like some kind of stage 4 something or other. All right. So this is going quite easy, quite well. I think to save you guys some time, we will go ahead and speed up the rest of the juicing process in the Green Star Pro. Alright, last piece of celery going into the Green Star Pro to get juice right up. It's been working really beautifully, really quickly, simply, and easily. It's called the Green Star Juicer, and it does leafy greens the best, including the things like the celery and, things like stringy like ginger that would need to be pre-cut in the NAMA. Looks like we're pretty much done. Hit stop. Looks like it took 3.5 minutes to juice in the Green Star Pro. Let's go ahead and turn this off. And let's go ahead and check the temperature before we forget. We'll tip the machine up and back just a little bit to get all that juice out. I then moved the collection cup underneath because it will drip. Although you do probably get a drip tray with the machine that I actually don't use because it's more parts to clean. All right, and check this juice out. Wow, look at that. 58.5 degrees. I think that's pretty much the starting temperature. So this really did not even raise the temperature. I'm getting 59.5 now. But wait, or maybe raise the temperature 1 degree or something like that. Barely any heat transfer. It barely heated the juice up at all. So based on the last test with the carrots and this, I would say the twin gear heats the juice the least, if that is a concern for you. I'm sure heat does affect some nutrients. The bigger the change in the heat, the bigger the difference in the nutrients, but I don't think that's a major contributing factor to the juice quality. I think more of the oxidation personally is. Oh wow, and just looking at this, looks like it made 900 milliliters. Definitely beat out the Breville that actually settled down to maybe 725 after it's settling. Alright, now we're going to juice the celery in the NAMA. My goal is to let the celery get sucked into the NAMA on its own, because when you do use the pusher, you may cause excess backup and jamming, although it may be required. So I will also try to use the celery to push the previous celery in. It's also said in the influencer's video that you don't even need to push. Well, I found that to be false with the NAMA, but can be true with other vertical juicers based on my experience. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit the reset on here, turn this machine on, hit start, and we're going to feed in one piece of celery at a time. And we're just going to try to let the machine work at its own pace, see if it sucks it in. Because the NAMA runs at a slower RPM, it may take a lot longer to do it this way, but this way will ensure we yield the most amount of juice, but also it may get stuck at the bottom like it's just sitting and spinning, so you gotta weigh out. Do you want it, let it run at its slow pace like normal, or let it sit and spin and waste time? And so, you know, the slower you juice in any juicer, definitely the higher yield you're gonna get. So you gotta trade off, you know, do you wanna take all day, and I've already spent a good portion of the day juicing already, and maybe get a little bit less yield. Also, if you jam things through the NAMA too quickly, you are more prone to, you know, clogging up the celery strings inside the machine. I think in order to save you guys some time, I'm going to go ahead and speed this video up to save you guys some time, basically. Alright, last piece of celery going into the NAMA. This has worked pretty uneventfully. The pulp is still flowing out, you know, and I don't know, you know, I have a lot of pulp that's collected, you know. I'm juicing properly in the NAMA by not using the pusher. Actually, I didn't use the pusher once, letting the machine work, and that's the challenge. If you put one piece in, you push it in, cram it in, you're cramming in the produce faster than the machine could accept it. Then you put the next one in. This compounds the problem of the strings getting caught inside the machine and potentially giving you poor results and jamming and clogging. You know, the way I use the juicer, the way I teach you guys how to use a juicer, you know, it should work like this, so we should be able to take this apart fairly easily. But the other thing is, there's a few, you know, there's basically things that could mess up with the Green Star Pro. You put celery in, no matter you have old celery or fresh celery, it juices good. This is fresh celery I just went out and purchased. You know, older celery that's kind of getting hard and less water content or more stringy. The fiber is more, you know, tough, and that can stick more in there. Also, if you press too fast in there, and also if you gotta get things in there sideways, the strings aren't cut up, because the main way the strings are cut up on this machine is the auger going around will take like a cut off each of the celery to get some of the strings off. Some of the strings will be cut, and some of them won't. So I mean, here's like a, you know, a maybe 3-inch long piece of celery, and you will definitely not find. Oh, let's go ahead and turn this off here. So it took 5.30 minutes, 5.5 minutes. So it's a few minutes more than the Green Star Pro to do it right. I could have crammed it through there once again faster, and I could have got it to juice, although then I'd have problems taking the machine apart. I could show you guys, I could pull some celery out of here. You know, there's just lots of strings that are just not chopped up. And you know, the strings, I'd be hard pressed to find any strings in this celery. I mean, this is just a nice fine pulp. I mean, here's a longer piece right here. But you know, this is a lot more stringy. And I want you guys to look at the color of these guys. Right? What celery looks deeper, richer, dark green? This one or this one? What does that mean? Well, the more juice comes out, right, the lighter the celery color will be. These are like 4 heads that I took one stalk of each celery and put it into each of the bowls. So it had basically evenly distributed celery from each individual head, because a head could be different ages, so I wanted to make sure we had more of a fair fight. And I'll do these things behind the camera because I want to just make sure there's a fair fight. I don't really care who wins. I sell both these machines. I don't sell that machine, as I said, but I'm not a fan of the high-speed machines in any case, and actually I recommend in most cases. People don't even buy a high-speed machine. So anyways, yeah, darker pulp, lighter pulp. We could rejuice this pulp too. We'll make more juice in the Green Star Pro as we did with the carrot juice, but I'm going to save you guys some time because this video is already extremely long and I have a lot of other things to do today. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move up our cups front and center so you guys can see the total yield that each juicer made. Once again, this is unstrained yield here, and in a minute we'll be straining it. Oh, I'm spilling, not cool. All right, so I did spill a little juice on there, which probably would have been good for like a little line or so up, but I did not spill a significant amount. You guys can see the little drips on there. I spilled a little bit, so I apologize for that. Let's go ahead and do a close-up on the yields for you guys. So I want to go ahead and show you guys the yields over on the Breville side. Let's see, looks like we got maybe just above maybe 725 milliliters of juice with, you know, a good head of foam on there. Also, I want you guys to denote the juice color. It kind of looks like that ugly, you know, green color that the kitchen countertops would be in the 1970s. Next, let's go ahead and look at the Green Star Pro. Looks like it's basically just under 800. Because I spilled some, I'll call that 800 because we are literally a hairline below with a little foam. And then over on the NEMA, you know, look at the NEMA, you know, quite impressive. It made actually a tad bit above the 800 mark. Now, I'm going to pull it back, and I want you guys to carefully look at the colors of the juices there. Maybe we'll go ahead and spin these guys around so you guys could see maybe a better shot of the colors, because this is actually quite important to me, maybe not to you. But the juice on the Breville is definitely darker. But the darker color, you know, is not because maybe it pulled out more nutrients, because it's more oxidized. This is my personal opinion, because it runs at a high speed to air. And if you guys look at the foam, you know, the foam layer a little bit more darker, although it does have some carrot juice influence because of the orange color in there. But then this kind of looks more ruddy and oxidized. In addition, we got the separation. If you guys look closely at the separation layer, we're seeing a little bit more separation in there. Over on the Green Star Pro Juice, I would say this is a nice, deep, rich green color. Looking at the separation layer, and we've got a pretty clear distinction of foam to no foam on there, right? And that's a nice, deep color green. Over on the NEMA, to me, you know, if I had one of those machines, I could test the color. And this is my vision. This is a subjective, not objective. If I had a machine to test it, it'd be objective. But comparing the color on these two, I would say the Green Star Pro over here is a little bit darker. And this is not due to oxidation. The oxidation, in my opinion, would show in the white foam layer, which is just pure, clear white. You know, and then over on the NEMA, once again, pure, clear white. But at the level distinction point, you guys could see some extra, you know, particulate in there, maybe some separation. And on the Green Star Pro, it's pretty much clean. This juice, to me, like especially looking at this layer right here up at the top, looks a little bit lighter pigmented in color than the juice over here. A darker color juice may mean either more oxidized, if it's kind of like more of a brownish, darker color, or in this case, I believe it to be a deeper, richer green, which would mean a sign of more nutrition in the juice. So yes, the NEMA actually did win the overall yield just by a tad. So now that you guys saw the yield, what I'm going to do next is we're going to go ahead and strain out the juices and find out which juicer actually put more pulp in the juice. It'll be interesting to see what happens this time. So first we're going to go ahead and pour out the NEMA. If you guys are interested in getting these pitchers that I'm using today, they're from IKEA. I like them a lot, but they break very easy because the glass is quite thin. They're kind of like, you know, beakers in a lab or whatever. All right, so I'll go ahead and tear out my scale. We made pretty much a cup of a whole quart of juice, approximately. Tapping out for the residual pulp. Weighing it out. I got 10 grams of pulp over on the Green Star Pro. Let's go ahead and pour this guy out. Once again, I did lose a little bit on the table. Got a little bit of pulp at the end. $12 grams of pulp, so not a lot of pulp in there. And then finally the Breville. And this one definitely has a lot of foam in there for sure. And And once again, we're tapping it down. We're tapping in a lot of foam. I don't think there's a lot of pulp in here. Let's go ahead and check that for sure. Like 0 grams. Oh, 4 grams we got of foam pulp. Whatever you want to call it. All right. So let's see. Next, I want to go ahead and do a taste test for you guys. Over here, the strain juices. You can see, you know, the Nama clearly made more juice, but it's not by like, you know, in another video, the other influencer like the Green Star made half as much juice. Like, I mean, this is a legitimate test, guys. Yes, okay, the Nama made a little bit more for sure. But this is an honest test. You guys can see they're all pretty similar. So like no matter what juicer you go with, you're going to get within a range of juice depending on your ingredients. You know, if I did this test with like kale out of my garden, you know, it would be a different test, you know. It would be, the results would be different. So I did carrots and celery in this. But aside from, you know, how much juice it made, I want to go ahead and do a taste test. I think we'll start with the Nama juice today first. I mean, that's a decent celery juice. Kind of tastes a little bit tad bitter to me. Watery. I don't know. Everything's watered to me today. I usually mix a lot of other things in my juices besides just straight celery these days. All right, Green Star Pro Juice. You know what? That kind of feels like, you ever drink water like Evian water and like the taste sensation you get in your mouth, it kind of feels like rubbery. Like this juice tastes a bit more rubbery to me. That's quite interesting. So I'm not sure exactly why that's happening. Maybe that's the mineral content. But this is a lot more, to me, more tasty. Once again, this is subjective. Actually, I like that juice more than the Nama personally. But the Nama made more. The Breville juice most oxidized, in my personal opinion. We forgot to check the Nama juice. So we're doing it now. We should have tested in the previous step. But it's a 64.5. So in this test, the Nama juice, which actually would have cooled down a little bit because we waited, it heated the juice more. So it's like, don't buy this if you want the heat juice. Buy that, you know? So, yeah, I mean, this has pretty much been my consistent, you know, topic in general. Plastic auger juicers will raise the temp more than a stainless steel, you know, blade design, you know, on here, or the stainless steel gears on here, because the coldness of the produce transfers to the stainless steel. You guys are that are in this, you know, engineering will know all these you know, formulas and all this stuff for that. I'm just a common dude. But yeah, the coldness transfers better to the stainless steel than the plastic, so that's why these juices are a little bit colder. And then the heat is not transferred, but then the friction caused at the Nama grind point, because it is so much more efficient in grinding, you're getting more yield, but also the juice is heated out more. So don't buy a Nama if you don't want heated juice. Oh my God, so I just try to tell you guys like it is, all right? So yeah, the Breville juice that I haven't tried yet. I mean, that tastes to me like I'm drinking water. Like I'm not tasting any kind of bitter compounds. It's just straight up like almost like water. Not a fan. This is why I only use a Breville when I'm using these kind of videos. But of course, I would definitely also agree that it's better to juice celery in a Breville than to not juice at all. But especially if you're dealing with some kind of health condition and want to get the maximum benefits, especially those phytonutrients and trace minerals, which in my personal opinion are the most the biggest benefit and the biggest reason to drink the juices, then you want to use a different juicer for sure. So I think now what I want to do is we'll put these off to the side and show you guys actually what we need to clean at the end over on the Breville juicer. If we take this apart, you'll see, like, you know, there's lots of area in here with all the pulp clogged up. You know, actually pieces of celery that did not get juiced. Once again, that's a con of this machine, and that's why it made less juice. But actually, if we look at this, whoa, almost lost that. Good thing I have fast reaction times. If we look at this, actually, the juicing screen is fairly clean actually. So a bristle brush will clean the screen, no issue. If using a sponge, you're wasting your time. That'll just clog it in, but you need a brush to kind of get in to the screen holes. And of course, there's still some juice left over in the bottom that did not get flung out, just from the air pushing it. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in there. All right. Let's see here. Pulp. I mean, once again, the pulp. Even the Breville will leave big chunks of pulp, and the pulp is actually quite wet. I could run the pulp through the Green Star Pro from the Breville and definitely get more juice. All right. Next, let's go ahead and let's get this on the edge of the table. Next, let's go ahead and take apart the Green Star Pro. You got a little bit on the funnel top to clean out. Oh, let's go ahead and put this off and back. Inside is pretty much clean. You're going to snap these guys, take it apart. And when you do so, you'll see inside this housing there's some, pulp. You have to remove this outlet adjusting knob that we did have screwed in all the way. That can make the difference between half yield or full yield. And then you have the juicing screen right here to clean, which does not look that bad. More than 75% of the screen looks pretty clean, but the last part of it, on the bottom especially, has the ground-in pulp that you could use a scraping tool that comes with a juicer to clean. Not that difficult. You have two augers that, in my opinion, are really easy to clean. I just blast this underwater, use a brush. Once again, not a sponge, to just brush it off. All the pulp comes out. Actually, I usually get all this pulp into my compost bin before juicing. And then you just have this piece here, which pretty much is all clean. I blast water through here, a little bit of soap on the dish brush, and run that through. And then you get a little bit of residual on the motor body, which I'm not a super huge fan of personally. And then you need to clean that off. Don't put this under water. Maybe spray a little bit of water in there on a brush and just brush it off. But the rest of the parts can be, just hand wash, or even I recommend minimally soaking if you're not able to clean right after. I always encourage you guys to clean right after you're done juicing. Let's go ahead and put this all back to the side because we're kind of making a mess here. And then finally over to the NAMA. Let's take a look and see what we got. So we're going to go ahead and twist the NAMA. It comes apart fairly easily because I did not have any major pulp blockages. If it's hard to take apart when you're done, that means you're getting too much residual pulp jammed up and backed into the juicer, because two things: you're not either pre-cutting or you're feeding too quickly, right? Or you have old produce that has more predominant strings and fibers that are getting stuck up in the machine, right? It's rare that I actually clog the NAMA, but I know how to use the machines properly to allow the machine to basically chunk off the fibers to make them smaller. So in this instance, it did work, but once again, I do not recommend using this technique because you're setting yourself up for potential failure. I'm not going to say you will get it jammed up, but based on customer feedback using vertical juicers, more so, people jam their juicers up and then they're really upset when they can't get their juicer apart. So my goal is to teach you guys the best practices so that you guys don't get a jammed and clogged juicer, so that you are happy every single time. And also, you don't have to contact me because your juicer's jammed because you're jamming in the produce too quick and or not pre-cutting. If you want to juice celery specifically in a vertical juicer, check the link down below where I have a video on how to juice celery in a vertical juicer successfully each and every time, and I pretty much guarantee that if you follow my directions exactly. Even if you have old mature celery with harder strings, I mean, I'll juice like celery out of my garden that's like really more mature without any issues if properly done. All right, pulling out the auger inside here, we got some pulp on here. There will always be some pulp underneath the auger, so don't be alarmed about that. In addition, we got some pulp inside the screen, and pulp be jammed in to the screen, not too hard to clean. A little bit easier than the Green Star Pro screen. I think it's right here. A little bit easier. This is more jammed in, but there's less surface area on this screen than this screen. There's nooks and crannies in both these two juicers that I'm not the super hugest fan of. That's why I prefer the VSJ843, which actually has less nooks and crannies. Inside here, you're going to get all these pulp at the bottom and some extra pulp, and the pulp coming out here. You're going to have to go ahead and then flip this little lever to open this up and dislodge the pulp with your pinky out of here, or use like the cleaning brush screwdriver end tip and scrub all this clean. All right. So yeah, that's the cleaning process. So I estimate cleaning process times to be approximately 4 to 5 minutes, maybe 4 to 6 minutes. On this guy, might be similar or the same. And then on this guy, I'd say maybe like 3 minutes or so. So, cleaning time to me is not that different. So I know some of you guys really don't like cleaning, and for those of you guys that don't like cleaning, then you might want to be wary of these two machines. That one I think is personally easy, but then you could get somebody that cleans the Breville. I think it's hard. So in that case, if you want the easiest cleaning, then don't even look to any of these machines. Look for a true horizontal auger juicer, not a horizontal twin gear juicer. That takes me 80 seconds to clean. And if you do it like I do, I guarantee it'll take you 80 seconds and you move fast as quick as I do, all right? So every juicer has their pro and con. What do we learn in this episode? Actually, we learned that in this episode, the NAMA did produce more, than the other two juicers, actually. But not by much. But what was the cost of that? What are you giving up when you buy a NAMA? This is things influencers that only sell the NAMA or promote the NAMA will not tell you. And my goal is to tell you guys the truth, and you guys can make your own decision. They will not tell you that the feed chute is small. They will not tell you that it actually took longer to juice in both instances with the NAMA than it did in the other two juicers. They will not tell you that you only get a 2-year warranty on all the juicing parts should you break your screen, which is the most likely part to break. After 2 years, you will likely have to buy it, although NAMA has told me that if something breaks after 2 years, they will cover it. But the thing in writing, especially if you're a lawyer, you can't, if somebody says something that's hearsay, but if it's in writing, then it's more enforceable. So they may not enforce this. I'm not exactly sure. NAMA is more of a new company. They don't tell you that NAMA is more of a new company. While it is a new company selling juicers, it has been in the automotive industry. The owner has been in the automotive industry for a long time. But the other thing is Tribest has been in business for over 30 years now. I'm not sure. Breville has been in business for a long time selling juicers, so they're much more established. In addition, Breville, as far as I'm aware, is vertically integrated. This means they produce their juicers and they sell their juicers. Tribest on the Green Star Pro is vertically integrated, which means they make the juicers in Korea, they ship it to the U.S., and they sell it. So should something happen, well, nothing could happen to the supply chain because they own the supply chain in Korea. Meanwhile, NAMA is just simply a marketing company. This machine is actually made by Hurom, and NAMA imports it and sells it under its brand name. So if NAMA and Hurom get into some kind of dispute in the future for whatever reason, and Hurom cuts off NAMA, then NAMA cannot no longer get any parts for the machine. Now, would that happen? I don't really know, but these are things that other influencers will not tell you. I visited both the Hurom factory and the Green Star Pro factory many years ago when I was over in Korea, and they have definitely good setups. Solid setups. I've never visited the Breville factory. I think the Brevilles are made in China, whereas these two machines are made in South Korea. South Korea makes the best slow juicers, in my personal opinion. Another thing the influencers won't tell you is that, I've seen the data, I've seen the studies, and I'll tell you guys this. There are no studies comparing, that I'm aware of, compares the auger style juicer to a twin gear juicer. That data is quite lacking. There is studies comparing the auger juicer to the high-speed juicer. I could clearly tell you based on scientific studies that this machine will make a higher quality juice with more phytonutrients, especially juicing something like grapes, which was the study, than this machine, because this machine grinds up the seeds and the skin of the grapes more efficiently than this, and that's where most of the nutrition in the grapes lies, especially things with apples. But then saying that, I know that the Green Star Pro grinds up better. I mean, I could look at this produce and look, you could see big strings of celery. And in here, I mean, this is really much more fine. I don't know if I didn't show you guys that up close. This is a lot more finer grind than this. So to me, when you grind something finer, you expose more surface area, you break things open more, you get more nutrients out. There's no direct studies, once again, comparing these two. But if there was, I would, put money and guess that this machine will pull out more nutrients. Likewise, this machine has been compared to a high-speed machine, and also the one people look up to, the 2-stage hydraulic press, such as the Norwalk, and this one does pull out more minerals. In addition, to me, this juice is more green. You can see that in some of my other videos I've done in the past where I compare juicing cucumbers and different juicers. The cucumber juice out of the Green Star Pro stuck out in my mind because it was at least a shade or two darker, which means more chlorophyll in there because this is grinding better. Once again, it's important. It just yields the most important thing, and to me, that's kind of like looking at a girl that's like really beautiful on the outside, but then not figuring, like taking into the equation, like, hey, did she go to college? Does she only have a high school diploma? Can she deal with being street smart, or is she book smart? I mean, there's a lot of factors determining that than just the cover may not be exactly what's in the book. Whatever how they say that. So. This machine actually produce the highest quality juice and also a little bit less yield. Also maybe a little bit more difficult to clean, a little bit longer to clean. But more importantly, you're going to get a 15-year warranty. So if you have to buy like 2 of these machines because this one fails in 3 years and there's no warranty in year 3 for your juicing parts, then you're stuck. And you've already spent more than the cost of this machine. This is the high-end, top-of-the-line Green Star Pro juicer, although the yield in this will be the same as the Green Star Elite juicer. And soon enough, I will be comparing the NAMA to the Green Star 1000 juicer that the other influencer used to make the video to show you guys with that exact machine, the exact results, okay? In addition, this machine comes with a company that has, long time standing in the juicer industry. It comes with the most attachments, including a glass carafe and 100% stainless steel gears, BPA-free components if that is important to you. The auger, GE Ultima auger, does contain BPA as it is being put into the hydraulic press machine that molds out the plastic. If that is a concern, although some companies will advertise this machine as BPA free, but I like to give you guys the information to make your own decisions. Furthermore, as I was saying, this machine provides you with the most different options for making nut butters. None of the other machines will make nut butters. This one will make nut milks. This could make nut milks, but this could also do grinding and make mochi of different things like mince your garlic, grind up your coffee, all these things that the NAMA simply cannot do. And if these functions are important to you, then you might want to go with the twin gear juicer, right? Another thing that I really like about the twin gear juicer and Tribest is that actually when I called Tribest that day for my warranty support, I also called NAMA that day for my warranty support. I got a call back from Tribest the next day, and even after a week or 2, I did not get a call back from NAMA until I made another video and put out a video about how I did not get called back. And then basically by the next couple of days I got my part, and then they looked in their records and they said they never got my call, although my calling records clearly show that I called their 800 number and I left a message. So I always encourage you guys, if you guys need support, to email and phone the company for the best support. Some companies have better email support, some companies have better phone support, but in that case I did get service from Tribest a lot quicker than NAMA, although NAMA did take care of me once they were aware of my situation. So, I'm trying to lay out for you guys. Each juicer has its pros and cons. I also, as I said, watch my other videos where I compare the Green Star Twin Gear to other different style juicers so you can kind of learn the pros and cons. In every different video, I do something different based on what I'm juicing that day. And, and same thing. I have a bunch of videos with the NAMA comparing it with carrot juice against other vertical juicers, against nut milk with other juicers. I just did a video with the VSJ juicing lettuce. Between this, I'll be juicing the Slow Star versus this machine, juicing like probably cranberries and grapes. And with the Breville, I mean, if you want the speed, then go with the Breville if you do not care about the nutrition quality. I mean, that's about the only thing I can say about the Breville. It has a short 1-year warranty, so if it breaks after a year, you're going to have to get a new one because it's not going to be covered. You're going to basically be out the money you spent unless you can repair it. Also, to let you guys know that, once again, that screen is a wearable part. I did mention that earlier, about every 6 months to a year, depending on how much you use it. If you use your juicer once a year, you don't have to replace it every year. But if you use it like every day, you might want to, especially with carrots that dull the blade rather quickly, that will reduce your yield. You might want to change the blade out after every 6 months, which is basically another $40 every 6 months. It's $80 a year. Whereas if you get one of these two guys, basically non-wearable parts. I think that's about all I'd say about this. Oh, and if you're going to juice like leafy greens, buy the juicer that's going to juice leafy greens the best. It ain't the Breville. If you're juicing things like carrots and celery and hard fruits, the Breville works fairly good in terms of yield, but you can see this really browning really fast, and these guys are still maintaining color. I will store both these under vacuum. Link down below for that video so you guys can see how I'm going to store these. I'm going to drink this tomorrow and drink these the following days. But I think that pretty much sums up this video. I could probably get some other scenarios that if you want this, then get this juicer. But hopefully you've determined that by this episode. It's already long enough, like probably over 2 hours long. And for those of you guys that stuck through it, I thank you, because you are the kind of customer that I want, right? I don't want a customer that watches 5 minutes of my videos and bails because they don't have all the information they need to make a solid choice that you'll be happy with, that you will get a juicer and be happy with, and more importantly, use for the long run. So I applaud you guys that stuck to the end of this video to get my summary, because, clearly, here's the thing. Every juicer has its own pros and cons. Our society is a reductionist society that we want to just What's the best juicer, John? I just want to know the best, and that's the one I'm going to buy. Dude, it depends. Like, what's the best pair of shoes, right? I have a friend. She always wears her flip-flops, and we go hiking. She's wearing her flip-flops. You know, wearing flip-flops to go hiking are not the right shoes. I'm always just dusting her, and she's behind because she cannot, you know, hike in the flip-flops because it's dangerous. She's going to get cut by jagged rocks and all these things. So you got to pick the juicer as to what you're going to juice. And clearly in this episode, we showed exactly what happens when you juice carrots and celery. Plus, I gave you my expert, honest commentary about the pros and cons of each juicer so you guys could determine the best one for you. That's what I'm all about. You think, oh, John, you favor this one or you favor this one. Yes, and in a video, generally I'll like one or the other. In this video, you know, I definitely don't like the Breville, and I like these two for various different reasons, right? And I explain those to you guys, and some days I'll pick this one off the shelf to juice, some days I'll pick the Nema, but most of the time I'll use the Omega VSJ43, which I will honestly say is my favorite vertical juicer. And then we're only comparing 3 different types. You should also consider an auger juicer if you're going to juice lots of celery, because auger juicers, like single auger horizontal juicers, will get pretty much a similar yield as a vertical, but without all the pre-cutting and without all the challenges and the blockages that a vertical juicer could get. So a vertical juicer is not for everybody, although it may be for you. But you got to watch my other videos to determine that. So I'm pretty much out. I got to do something before it gets too late. I got to clean all these juices up, put this juice up to store, and I got a lot more work to do. If you guys enjoyed this episode, the way you can support me is by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. This allows me to continue to stay in business, to make honest review videos, to show you guys the truth about what happens when you're juicing different items in different juicers, and also, more importantly, share with you guys my expert commentary, some of the behind-the-scenes knowledge that a standard person would not know, because I want you guys to have all the information to make an informed choice. And if your purchase at Discount Juicers allows me to continue to do my work, plus you're going to have me as your liaison to get warranty support and me to answer all your questions to make sure that you could juice successfully, throughout your whole life, through the life of the machine that you purchase. Also, be sure to click that like button if you like this video. Be sure to share this video with other people, especially people that share the other video that the influencer did that was quite unfair. I stamped this with my seal of approval. This is completely fair. I did not fix this. The Nema did make more juice, but not by much. But there are pros and cons to every juicer that I tried to explain to you guys in this episode. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new upcoming episodes. I come out every 5 to 7 days in order to show up or what you will be learning on my YouTube channel. I'm going to compare the Nema with a bunch of other juicers in the future so you guys could better know the Nema, its pros and its cons, and if you should get that one or a different juicer. I love doing this, and I get to drink all the juice that I make because it is important to me to drink basically 64 ounces of juice a day to remain healthy, as well as eat copious amounts of other fruits and vegetables in my life and in my diet. Finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel, dedicated comparing and trusting all the different major brand juicers so that you guys could choose the right one for you. And please watch a number of them so you guys get a good idea about how the different machine that you're interested in works. Because, you know, maybe in one video you'll see, oh, I like how it does that, it does it fine, but then you'll see me juice leafy greens on that same machine, and you're like, oh my god, I'm never going to do that, I don't like that. But by only watching a limited amount of videos, you have limited information to make a choice that can greatly impact your health. You know, and it saddens me when a customer buys a juicer, they didn't watch my videos, and they just return it because it's not working right, and then they don't juice again. Oh my god, that's me failing. Maybe I can make my videos shorter, but I'm telling you guys the truth about it, and I want you guys to become juicers for life, and that's why I do these videos, because I care. It's not about the money, it's because I care. I almost lost my life when I was younger. I turned my health around by making dietary changes and juicing, and that's what I'm showing with you guys. And yes, my videos are long, but you learn things in this video that you're not going to learn anywhere else. These are advanced topics and advanced things that, unless you're in my brain, you're not really going to know, and nobody else on the planet knows as much as I know about juicers, in my personal opinion, or anybody that I've actually met yet, because I juice so much and I sell them, and literally this is my lifestyle. It's not just my business, it's my lifestyle, all right? So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.